This is gonna hurt me a lot more than you guys. Welcome to the dojo. We are NINJAGOCast, Masters of Podjitsu. They find the guy in the green robe, they take the robe off, and
It's the best character in the entire show.
Jackie Chan's like, hey, check out my wooden minifigure you want.
Why does he have it? Why is it wood?
The fight scenes were freaking incredible.
She is water. She is hashtag. Be water.
I counted basically all the time that is spent on the TTV channel talking about Crystallize. We got a total of 23 hours, 17 minutes, and 7 seconds. If we add the set stuff to that, so podcasts about the sets and the set reviews, it's 29 hours, 15 minutes, and 25 seconds. And if you want to be charitable and also add the last spin, because we did talk a lot about Crystallize in that, it's 32 hours, 28 minutes, and 50 seconds.
Let's go!
hello everybody. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Hello everyone.
Hello, everybody! Hello, everybody!
Hello everyone. Hello everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello everyone. The dojo is open. Welcome back.
And welcome
And welcome.
And welcome back to NINJAGOCast.
NINJAGOcast.
To NINJAGOcast.
To NINJAGOcast.
We are the Masters of Podjitsu back
Oh,
again.
The return to Podjitsu.
That's right.
This was a mistake.
No,
This was a mistake.
this had to happen.
Hello everyone, the dojo is now open. I am your Sensei Bendo.
I am Meso.
I am LJ.
I'm Cube.
I'm Konya Crystal.
I'm Cheesy.
I'm Parachuting Kitten.
And welcome back to NINJAGOcast. Episode 100, everybody. We have made it.
Yay!
Wow.
And by we, I mean mostly Meso and LJ. I just got here.
No. You've been with us for a bit now. Don't undersell.
You are the
You're
sensei now, not
You're
us.
you're the only reason this is still a thing.
No, I'm glad. I feel like I say this every time it's brought up, but I'm so like honored and just happy that I can continue this podcast further and that we can keep it going here on my channel. It's such a strange feeling every time that I think about it, but it's so cool and it's so awesome, and I'm so grateful for all of you guys being here. We've got so many wonderful people here with us today to discuss the history of the podcast, discuss the history of the community, talk about Ninjago, keep hyping it up on its big 15-year anniversary. This literally could not have come at a better time, I don't think. So
No.
welcome everyone. Thank you all
Can
for
I
being
say
here.
that intro montage was like really cool.
I'm
was
glad you liked it.
I love the hello everybody montage.
I was
So
like,
good.
I was struggling because I was like, I want to make a cool montage, but how do I make a cool montage out of basically what is only audio clips?
Oh yeah.
And I was just scouring through so many old episodes, going back to episodes that I remember being memorable. If I had more time, I could have found a lot more, bigger clips, I think, but I'm happy with what I will.
The
what
fact
I was able to
we
put
talked
together.
about crystallized for over 30 hours is nutty.
Yeah, that's an insane stat.
I don't know what we were on. Like that was.
We
And
were
also-
upset. That's what we were on.
Thank
Oh,
you,
yeah.
thank you, Green Tornado, for the $1 super chat. Very much appreciated. And World of Cars Entertainment for the $2 super chat. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here for so much of it.
Yeah. This is gonna be a good show. I hope.
For real.
Probably gonna be a longer one, I would wager, but who knows? Maybe not. Maybe it will. I
Cool.
don't know. Get tired. But thank you everybody who's been here. There's plenty more people who could be here and who I wish we could have got, but for the sake of having a coherent discussion, 7's probably a good solid number. We've had podcasts with up to what was our biggest one ever, LJ? Like 13 or something?
So I'm glad you asked because I catalog all of this stuff. I think that the most people we had on any Ninjago cast, like an episode proper, is actually 7.
Perfect. All right,
Oh,
cool.
there we go.
Nice.
So there you go. It works out. Just to have a good flow. But
A ninja.
yeah, a ninja flow. Yes, you're right. They hit original song Ninja Flow streaming on Spotify. But
I
like
forgot that was not actually an official song.
actually for real on Spotify. Go check it out. Shout out to Tavar. But anyway, Bindo, what are we doing here today?
Well, we thought today would be a good time to kind of reflect on the history of Ninjago Cast, reflect on the history of the community. Of course, we have a bunch of wonderful people here today to kind of give their perspectives on the Ninjago community and how they got into it and what they've been doing and how we've all come together here. But first all, I think it's a good place to start to just kind of share, have Meso and LJ, the OGs, share their experience, share their history, what brought Ninjago Cast together, what inspired you guys to start this and keep talking about Ninjago, get into Ninjago, and all the crazy stories you guys must have from doing this for so long, 9 years of podcast, 11 years of coverages.
Excluded us, so I'm just maybe maybe it hasn't been quite so long. maybe it's actually been a short amount of time, and we haven't aged
Dude,
that much. In that time.
I'm feeling like really old recently.
You should not, Meso. You're not old.
I feel old. I just turned 29 yesterday. I feel old.
Oh my gosh, that's
Oh,
not
yeah.
old.
It feels old, bro.
It is.
That's
Also,
like,
wait, LJ, you're here.
Yes, I
You're
am.
you're
Hello.
like here. Hi.
Yeah,
Like,
hi.
it is like, yeah. Hello. Thank you
How's
for
it going?
joining us today.
Thanks for the invite.
How you been? For anyone who maybe hasn't heard from you in a while.
Which is everyone. I've been doing well, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to get to celebrate this, and this is very, very exciting. I've brought up a whole bunch of documents and videos because I have cataloged how many episodes we did when it was under the TTV banner, how many episodes per year, duration, like everyone that's ever been on it. So
Yeah,
there's a
LJ is
bunch
like,
to talk about.
for those who don't know, LJ is real life Master Wu. He has a cool hat, he has a beard, and he also
do.
has a lot of records that he keeps of things and can just pull out like ancient scrolls or like random info. And he also has a lot of like enemies and ancient enemies that will come back.
Okay,
so,
listen.
yeah.
I've been working on that
So yes, thank
by
you,
making new
El.
ones.
No,
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I feel like you have the ancient scrolls because you have all of our Skype logs from when we all first
God,
met.
Skype.
Skype. We met
You're
on
making
Skype.
I
me feel
remember
old now.
Skype.
You're making me feel
Yeah,
old.
Skype.
We met on Skype. I'm a very big proponent of like, I don't know, record keeping because I like to
No, that's right.
I like to remember the past, and I like that,
Yeah,
being on the
remember.
internet. Being on the internet gives us an ability to like find stuff if we want. One of my biggest pet peeves is like data impermanence, and I just like keeping records when possible. So
Stop
one of
playing
those
chat logs.
one of the records that I'm so sad to have lost is my first ever Ninjago video, which I actually made on my personal channel, and I think it got taken down due to a copyright strike from Lego, because I used confidential like watermarked pictures of sets in the video, and I was basically just saying like it was something along the lines of like, so Lego has this new story theme they're coming out with. It's ninja on spinning tops, and they're fighting skeletons on motorcycles, and I don't think this is going to be that successful. Quite frankly,
You got up
something
the
akin to
accent,
that.
dude.
Yeah, I had a much thicker accent. I'm very bad about like recalling my old voice. But yeah, that got taken down. However, there is another video. LJ, what is the what are the stats on this video? The first spiritual Ninjago coverage.
The one you and I did?
Yes.
So the very first video the Meso and I ever made discussing Ninjago was Ninjago's special coverage. And we're going to say with LJ Johnson because the name on it is not my current username.
It's Lewa Johnson. That's what it
Which
was.
it sure is. It was released January 22nd, 2011.
Yes.
I had asked for the longest time. I thought that was the oldest video discussing it. That isn't the case. There is another. There was
What's that
another
one?
video discussing Ninjago that predated ours by only 2 months, which was
was
released on
it?
November 14th, 2010. And it was released by Brickology Productions.
Oh, shout outs.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
no, we did that, and it's always fascinating to look back and see what videos we made on our own channels, because normally this would just be a TTV coverage.
Yeah, why is it on my personal channel?
It's a great question.
Wait, no, I know why. We haven't really started doing YouTube at this point. We were still like, well, we had our channel, but we had not yet made the switch to posting videos on YouTube, I don't believe, unless I'm wrong. Because I think the BZP, when the forum site we used to frequent went offline due to data issues and upgrades, that was when we migrated and became like full-time YouTubers, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense because there's a channel update, and it is from February 26, 2012. So yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. So that's why it's on my channel. And basically, like, you know, why did we care, right? Because for context, LJ and I weren't like actually like I don't want to be a jerk about it, but like we weren't really fans of Lego. LJ was more than me because you liked Exo Force.
Exo Force and Knight's Kingdom and a whole bunch of
Kingdom,
other themes.
But like primarily we were Bionicle fans. That was our niche. That's what we did. I don't think I had more than maybe 5 system brick built Lego sets before Ninjago came out. It just wasn't my speed. I did not know anything about it. And the only reason why we were caring so much about Ninjago outside of ninjas just being cool was because we were living in a post Bionicle world. Bionicle had been canceled in November 2009. It had ridden out its final year of story. It was gone. The replacement theme for it, which was called Hero Factory, wasn't really the greatest thing ever. It had a very threadbare story. It was clearly designed for a younger audience, and we really tried to talk about it. It's not like we didn't. We discussed it all the time on our podcast. Not really a whole ton of stuff to talk about with that one. It kind of wore out its welcome pretty quickly. And so then this new Ninjago thing comes along with the weirdest premise you could think of, like a skeleton on a motorcycle fighting a blue ninja on a spinning top with nunchucks and elemental powers. But our brains at the time were like, ooh, elemental powers, you say? Well, that's kind of like Bionicle. And then the more we heard about it, it was going to get a show. It was going to get this massive multimedia push. And we were like, okay, this is the next big thing. I wonder if this will be good. And I mean, the rest is kind of history because we're still here talking about it in 2026. But it was just kind of the fact that there was actually stuff to talk about, as kind of novel as that seems. There was media to discuss, there was lore, there was a story, there were characters, there was room for expansion, there was a huge story Bible. You know, they had clearly planned some stuff out. There were all these multimedia branches. And so it was kind of the perfect thing for us to gravitate towards. And LJ, if you remember, which I'm sure you do, how did we start actually watching it? What was the method by which we watched Ninjago?
So at the time, I had cable and Mesa did not.
Yeah, I did
and
not.
So the only way, because this is in, of course, like 2011, 2012, the only way to quickly show Meso episodes was to hop on Skype, turn on my webcam, point it at my television, and play the recording of the episode that I had.
which was
Wow.
what we did for the entirety of Rise of the
Beautiful.
Snake.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
man.
awesome.
And you
That-
know, Mesa, I don't remember if the quality was any good. I can only imagine that it was a really nifty slideshow.
LJ, your internet at the time, if I remember correctly, was about 5 megabits a second.
Mesa. Whoa. I wasn't as cool to have 5. I had 2 megabits down.
Wow.
It was
Dang.
almost imperceptible. It was just it was just pixels, but like I could hear the audio and I could kind of follow along. So like if you ever wonder why we didn't do podcasts until rebooted, that's because I was kind of only getting like half the experience. Like couldn't really do an in-depth discussion that way, but like I got the point across. I got the story, and I thank you for doing that, Elge.
Of course,
Eventually,
happy to help.
we graduated from webcam pointed at TV to pixelated blurry recordings of a TV that were posted because the episodes aired early in, I don't know, Germany or something. But that was the biggest thing in the early days, was the inconsistent release schedule. As bad as it is nowadays, it was kind of just as bad back then, because episodes would come out sporadically at random times, and we would just kind of have to find a way, because they would broadcast them on TV in certain countries, but it was never consistent. It wasn't advertised at all. And so we would constantly be playing catch up. I remember with Rebooted in particular, they aired the episodes in pairs across like months. They would do like 2 episodes, and then 3 months later another 2, and then 2 months later another 2. And you know, as bad as that was for getting invested in the story, it was equally bad for discussing it. So we just kind of had to do what we could, but it was still fun in those early days. What was the first episode of what you would call, you know, prototype Ninjago cast, Elge?
So, properly, officially, the first Ninjago coverage that we did on the TTV channel was Ninjago Rebooted, episode 27 and 28 coverage, released on January 31st, 2014. I would posit, considering some, how should we say, recent developments, thanks to Dragon's Rising, that our actual first Ninjago coverage released on January 20th, 2013, because that was the first time we did a coverage on Legends of Chima.
Oh. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well,
And that was the literal,
Crazy.
like, the pilot for Legends of Chima, the TV show special,
I forget that came out before Rebooted.
right?
Funny. All right, well, there you go then.
That was my silly joke I wanted to make, because I had alluded to this earlier, but
That's
Okay.
hilarious.
we did do that.
Fair enough. And then how many years did we do that before we actually made it a podcast?
Oh, I don't know. That one I didn't double check on that.
That's fair.
I guess.
Well,
Well, actually, I mean, I guess we do know the answer. So the first official episode of NinJagoCast was released May 28th, 2017, and it was titled Ninjago: Hands of Time, episodes 65 and 66 coverage.
So I'm
That's what I
thinking about the
thought.
history here and like what motivated us to actually make it a podcast. And I
Oh, I
kind
know.
of Oh yeah, why? Why?
I know exactly why, because I pushed for it. So
Go on.
the TTV channel was always kind of just a group of friends goofing around, talking about our favorite Lego themes. I mean, specifically, it was Bionicle. It was a Bionicle YouTube channel, and the core series on that channel was the TTV podcast. And there would be like spring-offs here or there, what have you. And I think it was it 2012, Meso, that we did like the content update or the
Yeah, it was
what you
20
call it?
I think it was 2013, but yeah.
Yeah, no, here it is. Yeah, new content schedule for 2013. And during that, we made a whole bunch of other shows and series. We had my recap reviews, where I reviewed every single Bionicle set that has ever been released. We did the TTV Newscast, which was like a truncated version of the news segment of the TTV podcast. We did a whole bunch of different fun specials and shows and what have you. And so eventually, it came time to make a general Lego system podcast. And I was pretty sure we've had a lineage of hosts for all of our different shows, like our podcasts. The initial one was started by a friend of ours who goes by Vardaran. And then Meso took over the TTV podcast. And so I'm like, all right, the next podcast I'm looking forward to hosting. I'll go ahead and kind of get my feet wet doing that. No. It was promptly handed off to somebody else who is no longer copacetic with anything that anyone does in any communities at this point for a variety of reasons. And if you know, you know.
LJ basically got passed over.
100%.
Oh,
I was
man.
flabbergasted. So I'm like,
I
oh,
forget
this
if
is...
I had any role in that, but if I did, I'm sorry.
I have no idea. Because at that point, I'm like, all right, cool. I see how it is. Fine. I'm going to go and make my own podcast on the TTV channel. And so that really drove me to want to make NINJAGOcast because we watch NINJAGOcast. We've been doing the coverages. There's so much that can be done. And I don't know if there were other Ninjago podcasts at the time. I don't think that there were, but I don't know. And it seemed like so much missed opportunity to not have a podcast that people can tune into every week for such a large theme, especially one that, in a lot of ways, was the spiritual successor to our favorite theme, Bionicle. And so I really pushed for, and so many of the members of NINJAGOcast, they watched the show, they were big fans of the show. So I really pushed for it, and we got all the graphics ready, and we started NINJAGOcast.
It's really funny we started it in Hands of Time.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
It's the weirdest thing.
I don't know why we did that, but I guess that's just how the time worked.
Nice.
Now, but I didn't mean for that to happen, but it worked out. So, what would you say, like, over the course of our run, what were some of your, like, I guess, milestone moments? Like, things that, not necessarily on the podcast, but, like, just our time with the property, I guess, that kind of stick out to you as, like, this is of note, or this is cool, or this is something, like, worth talking about in this segment here. Because I have a few that come to mind, but I figured you do as well.
I feel like we also, I share a lot of the ones that you might be thinking of, because there are so many. Like, it has been such a fascinating part of our history. It's been so much fun, of course. I think the first big moment that really cemented in our minds that this was something worth investing time into and following closely was the finale for Rebooted.
Yeah.
It was that last
sure.
episode. Not only because it was just a really darn good episode, and it was storytelling that we hadn't really experienced from Lego in the same way since Bionicle, because Bionicle had a very similar plot point, and they really stuck with it. It was extremely good, like year defining for that theme. But also because it was the first time that we had correspondence with the showrunners at the time, because they watched that episode of NINJAGOcast and they reached out to us and they said, hey, we played this in the writer's room, and we were really excited to hear that you guys liked it so much.
Yeah, that was a very very humbling and very cool thing to have happen, to be like, oh, this actually, like, made its way into the room of the people who write the show, so they know that, like, this kind of story development is, like, recognized and appreciated. Because we were trying to, like, hype it up, like, this is cool, character death, emotional, moments, stakes, like, resonance with the story. Do more of this, not like kill everybody, but, like, you know what I mean. Like, mature the theme, have moments that actually stick with people, take risks. And we were like, this is awesome. And over the years we would exchange, like, more correspondence with the showrunner at the time, and people who worked on the theme, and it was always very, very good. And I mean, it made us feel good, and it was kind of something we didn't really have too much history with, because I mean, like I said, we started our Bionicle podcast after Bionicle was 6 feet under, so we didn't really have that moment of, like, working with people who were directly working on the thing we're talking about. It was a lot of posthumous dialogue, you could say.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We learned very quickly how to talk about something in depth that was no longer ongoing. kind of a
Yeah.
rise from the ashes kind of a situation.
I also think something, and I'll probably circle back around to this later, maybe as the episode goes on, because I want to give some other people a chance to talk at some point. But like, it was the concept of like, well, how do you be honest about what you're saying when you're passionate about a thing, but also being cognizant of the fact that the people that make the thing that you're talking about are watching you. Because in our youth, especially as I was like getting my feet wet in discussion, I would be very like brash and very like biting with my criticism, you know what I mean? And I think it could border on being like toxic at points, I won't lie. It's
Yeah.
very easy, especially when you're younger, to just be like, oh, this thing sucks. And the people who wrote it are lazy and they're, hacks and like, don't do that. Like, this is awful. This is the worst thing ever. And then, you hear people watch your thing and you're like, oh, maybe that's a bit uncalled for to be quite so harsh. But then you also still want to be honest. So it was a good experience for me to kind of like level up the way I have a discourse about stuff and be a bit more mature, watch my words a bit, phrase myself better, all that stuff.
No, for sure. And there are so many other moments that I certainly want to talk about, but I don't know if this is where we would like to open the floor up a little bit more before we circle back around.
I think it's probably like, what do you guys think? We have some more stuff to say, but do we want to kind of
We've been talking for 9 years.
Oh, sure.
that's
No, it's all
true.
good.
I'm
We
it's up
can
to you guys.
I mean that marks as a good way to introduce like this is kind of how you got into it and everything, and we can kind of go around and be like, okay, so how did the rest of us kind of discover Ninjago, get into the
That works,
fandom
yeah.
specifically?
That's a good way to
Okay,
do it,
good.
for sure.
Awesome.
And then we can kind of like do a double up later where we'd be like,
Yeah.
well, how did it evolve over time?
Exactly.
Okay.
So as I was thinking, as long as Kit, you're ready, you're up for it. We can go in reverse
I'm
name
ready.
order.
No, we're good.
Epic.
So in terms of Ninjago, I have been watching Ninjago since the beginning, but I wouldn't say I really entered the fandom until like 2018. Basically, my brother was 5 years old when the show initially came out, and being a good older sister, we watched whatever he wanted to watch, which at the time was Ninjago, and we had the first 2 seasons on disc. So on many a road trip was spent in the back seat together on a little DVD player, watching through the first season of Ninjago, because it would kill a lot of time and it was one of the better options that we could agree on watching together. um and so like I was very aware of the show. There is a lot of uh Ninjago Lego in our house, and like none of it belongs to me. It is all his Lego that he has accumulated over years and years of birthdays and Christmas presents and all of that stuff. That is now like in storage boxes. So
You're not much of a set follower, are you?
I am not a set, partially because like for the longest time it was like my brother would just get all of the sets, so there's no reason for me to get sets because he already has them all. Anyway, but that was initially, and then he fell off of the show as he grew older. I kept up with it a little bit. Fun fact, actually, the first my first ever all-nighter that I ever pulled was watching Ninjago Rebooted, which had, I don't know. Again, I was not in the fandom at the time. I don't know if it leaked or if it was just like there was an upload in Cantonese on YouTube that hadn't gotten taken down, but like it got recommended to me, and I like my little what am I, like 13 at the time? I'm like, I see it pop up on my YouTube feed and I'm like, oh yeah, this show. No, I want to watch this. And then I kept watching until it had been all night. And I'm like, oh no. I I have just spent all night watching this thing. And there were like no subtitles or anything. It was just Cantonese Ninjago rebooted.
That's awesome.
Without any further context. And this is some deep parachuting kitten lore. On that first watch through, I hated Pixel.
Oh wow!
What?
No. Ultimate plot twist.
I thought my favorite ninja is Zane, and they're introducing this new robot character who like takes away some of his abilities. She's nerfing him, and then he dies at the end. They're like replacing my favorite ninja with this other character. I have no idea. Anyway, once I watched it through in English, obviously I fell in love. But yeah, no, that's some deep lore there. But coming back to that, it was like 2018 when it was again the YouTube recommended feed keeps on pulling me back into Ninjago, and this time it was the video of like the preview for season 8 where they're like all standing around outside like, we've got some exciting stuff coming up, we're gonna show you this. Do you guys know what video I'm talking about? Anyway,
I have a memory of this.
Anyway, so I saw that and that reminded me that the show existed. And that is what inspired me to start like catching up and rewatching any of the stuff that I had missed. Which I don't remember how long I had kept up with the show until I faded off. But and then this is when I start actually interacting with other fans online, is because I'm reminded the show exists, and so I go, oh yeah, I really remember liking Zane and Pixel after the whole rewatch, and so I'm looking up Pixane fan art, and I end up creating a Tumblr account, which is the Parachuting Kitten account, which is where my namesake comes from. Because I wanted a way to save all of that's where they had the best Pixane fan art. And so I wanted to be able to like it all so it would be in one place.
Incredible.
And that is what brought me into the fandom. And then I started posting because I had this account and there were other people there who were talking about Ninjago, and I started posting little video edits there, which then graduated onto a YouTube channel, which then randomly picked up views when I did not mean it to. And that's when I do all the every time videos, if anybody remembers those. And then the channel gets demonetized for reused content, fairly enough. And then that's what pushes me to actually start making analysis videos, and that's where we're at now.
I remember the rebrand. I forgot that it happened because, like, when you started doing different kinds of content, I forgot it happened because of demonetization.
Yeah, no, it was like I was posting like faceless videos, and then YouTube literally said you can't make money on this if you're not showing your face. And I'm like, okay, I guess I should do that.
I just remember,
but it was good.
I remember my first time hearing about you and your new content was the very measured and reasonable and productive and calm and rational, level-headed response everyone had to one of the, I don't know if it was the first few ones, but one of the ones where you were talking about, I don't even remember what, I think it was Nia.
Yeah. People get really angry at some of your videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can. Great. No, like, no tea, no shade. Like, I would go into the comment section of the super mega ultra long feminist manifesto of Ninjago female characters, and going into that comment section, they're like, wow, wow, this is crazy. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's actually insane.
No, and that ties into like I think the thing that prompted my coming on this podcast was my Dragons Rising
Yes.
video, which
Yeah.
is probably
Sure.
my most
yeah.
controversial video
Hmm.
released to this day.
Yeah.
So
I remember
Yeah.
I messaged you and we were talking back and forth and you were just kind of like you were kind of done talking about Dragons Rising for a bit. Like you were
Yeah.
Dragons Rising out for a bit.
No, you were like the next video topic probably is gonna be Dragons Rising, and I'm like, that's not really something
Right
I'm
now.
up to talking about more right now.
Yeah.
That's so real though.
All right.
Uh,
Well, see, that's
No.
the kind of stuff I like here. Like, because that's so funny to me that it all started because of needing a way to save fan art. You know?
No, that's
That's something
100% what it is. Like if you scroll down far enough on my Tumblr likes, all of the first of them is just all Pixane fan art. And I remember, like it was started with the Google search, and I was just like looking. I'm like, all of the best fan art that I want to save is all on this one site. It's all on Tumblr. So
Uh-huh.
shout out to all the Tumblr artists.
No kidding.
Whatever,
Y'all guys
like
are
For
insane.
real.
whatever
this is the kind of
16,
stuff I
17-year-old
wanna hear
me
about.
thought that you were all the best. So
That's the kind of stuff I'm interested in hearing about from all of you, really, because I have no interaction with that whole side of the fandom, and it's like a massive
just-
blind spot.
Yeah, just wait till I talk. I got stories.
Yeah. Well, who's up? Who's up next?
Cheesy.
Cheesy.
I guess that would be me. So I'm gonna make the joke that no one's made yet because I feel like it's inevitable. Long before time had a name, in the year 2011, specifically some week in January, I guess. A very very young Cheesy was super excited to watch this new show about some Lego Plastic Ninja because they kept seeing a bunch of commercials for it on Cartoon Network like over and over again, and I had no clue what this was really. I wasn't really into Lego like that. I had like some Lego PC games as a kid, of course, because I was a PC gamer, I guess, for life. But suffice to say is around the time of I guess January 14th, I saw, okay, the show's gonna premiere. I'm totally gonna watch it. I'm so excited. And then I missed it January 14th because I had to go do something. But the next day, January 15th, at around 11 o'clock in the morning, I watched the pilots for the first time. And so I cannot say that I watched the pilots on premiere day, but I can say that I watched it the day after, I guess. And I was pretty hooked from the start, I guess. I think that once we got to two specific episodes in season 1 was truly where the pure hyperfixation started, and then those would be the honestly the two Zane episodes of the season. I think Home, and then also I'm gonna be called out for being a fake fan because I'm bad at episode names. So please don't lynch me. But also the episode where Zane finds out he's a robot, and at that point I'm just like, okay, I see what this show's doing. I'm ready. I'm down for the ride. And from that moment on, Ninjago was a big hyperfixation for me because as a having the ADHD autism combo platter means that you get to obsess over a thing for like a certain amount of time and then swap to the next one on like a revolving door as time goes on. And so for a while I keep up with basically seasons 1 through 6 of Ninjago pretty well, with on and off. For a moment, I did maybe delve into Chima because it was the only other option, and I was like, "This looks fun. It's good, probably." Fast Cheesy was had some interesting taste, I guess. But suffice to say is I was very happy to see it come back with Rebooted and enjoy all of that. I think for the longest time that was my favorite season, and so on and so forth. I'd say around the time of Hands of Time is when I really fell off of Ninjago. One, because I was getting ready, like I think about to go into college or almost about to go into college. I'm old. I feel old. I'm making myself feel so old. I was about to go into college. And basically I was busy doing things and living life. And also at the same time, the airing schedule wasn't very good. I just couldn't be bothered. At that point, I started just watching new episodes on YouTube occasionally when they'd show up. And at that point, also Hands of Time is not a season I'm a big fan of anyway. So I just was like, I'll come back later. I'll go do something else. And so for a long time, or not a long time, but a while, I just sort of semi fell off. I would check in periodically, like as in like an outside looking in kind of force on the show. I would watch a little bit of, I think, season 8, but I didn't really watch much of it. And then I don't think I'd really get back into the show until right around Seabound, a bit after probably Seabound came out. Um, Throughout the time, I never was really a part of the fandom, I don't think. I think I was more like, again, watching, looking in. I would consume fandom content, but I would never really interact with too many people. And this is how I would be with like a few different things on my revolving door of obsessions. I'd, watch or look at fan art, read the occasional fan fiction, because that is definitely a part of the steps of being into something, I guess, for me, is to start reading some fan fiction or something. But eventually, around Seabound is when I really got back into the show. And at that point, around, because it was around COVID and I had just gotten out of college, and things were still very, I feel turbulent for a lot of people, and I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to be doing with my time for a little bit. I was like, well, I like Ninjago a lot. I just got out of doing animation as my career path. This show's really good. I've followed it forever. I might as well make an animatic for it. I'd say around like November of that year, I started really working on that animatic and really interacting with the fandom as time went on. I'd say a lot of my interactions started off on Discord more so than actually anything else, which is a very interesting thing, because a lot of the people I ended up meeting in like weird ways, where like I'd meet them at first somewhere else, and then I'd finally eventually like meet them personally. For instance, my friend Trist, I ended up meeting on Twitter in this really interesting interaction where we had like a really quick DM conversation about something very specific, and then later on I'd end up meeting him again on Discord, and we would end up being like, hanging out like a whole ton after that, just in a various friend group. But that's besides the point. I'm going on a tangent at this point. So around the time, I'd say of March, or yeah, I'd say around March of the next year, from that November, right between when Seabound and Crystallize, or right before Crystallize came out, or I'd say like a few months before Crystallize came out, I would drop my first animatic. And I think this is really when I started wholesale interacting with the fandom and people. I would start really I had like a Twitter lying around that I barely used, but I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna make this animatic, I might as well see what other people are doing. And at the same time, I was like, man, I really want to see what other people's opinions on the show are while I was making it. So I would start doing all those Discord things on Discord and joining various places and just chatting to people about the show. And I feel like one of my most vivid memories is that day that I uploaded the animatic, or my first animatic in the fandom, which was just a normal day. Actually, it was in Krusty's server, who is I guess a friend of the show as well. And in that server, I met a few other people, Sunny, Aloy, etc., and basically what happened was, I am in the middle of uploading it. We're in a voice call all together, and we're just all hanging out, talking, chatting. And mind you, I was pretty anxious uploading this. I guess I was just like, man, this is my first video in a long time. I'd uploaded one or two things prior to it, but it wasn't like anything that related to it or that interesting. But I was pretty anxious. And by the time that the animatic was fully uploaded, and mind you, I'd been working on it for months. I'd been maybe pushing myself a bit too much. by the time it's like almost uploaded, I start feeling like dizzy and faint. And I'm like, hey guys, I gotta sort of go for a second, guys. Um, and I end up walking across the house to where my mom was, and basically, I literally faint. I literally just faint. And like, I walk back, like, yeah, I totally
Are they
Uh-oh.
lagging for
guys
anyone
enjoy the
else?
video.
You're lagging a little bit,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
actually have to leave off.
Easy big
Oh,
lag
no.
spike. I wasn't sure if it was the
Wait,
whole
let me-
call or
Just a
just
little
you.
bit.
Yeah.
No. Hold up.
Wait,
Try
can you
again.
hear me now? Is it better?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
better.
we got
It's
you.
better.
We got
It's
you.
better.
Okay,
We're
let me-
good. We're good. We're good.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know where I left off, but basically, I accidentally fainted while on Discord, and in the middle of uploading my first video. But regardless, I ended up finally uploading it, and it ended up being the start of everything, really, on my end at least. It ended up doing way better than I thought it ever would. I just really wanted to make a show that, make an animatic that like encapsulated all the things that I loved about the show and all the things that made me truly love what the show does and really and what the fandom also loved about the show at the time, which is why I wanted to interact with so many people on Discord while making it to really get an understanding of how people felt about certain aspects and characters and things. And I'm just really glad that I got to make it because from there I got to make a few more and then start working on Frostburn. And yeah, I guess I'll stop there for right now.
That's
And if
awesome.
we come back around, I'll lead into more.
Give some more insight onto like the projects that you did from that point on, please. That's really cool though. That's like
Yeah,
see
heck yeah.
again, I have no conception for that because I'm not like an artist. I don't do like cool stuff like that. That's really fantastic.
Hey.
All right.
There
Is
you
it
go.
my turn? All right.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
A long time ago in a land far, far away, there was a little girl who had only ever received Lego bricks as a gift. And I would
Ever?
build them and I would enjoy them. But most of the Lego properties that ended up taking my time were the old PS2 Lego video games. I'm talking Lord of the Rings, I'm talking Harry Potter, and I'm talking about my favorite one that I still have today, Lego Star Wars. Okay?
Well,
So
okay.
I had been very versed for a while in Lego animation. I liked the style. I liked how comedic they were. So all of that, whenever I was a little kid, was like in the back of my mind, and I remember playing it over and over again. And then in 2011, I was 15 years old, and cartoons were still having a stranglehold on me. But one specific thing that had a stranglehold on me was random shows that ended up coming from Canada. Okay? So Total Drama Island was very well defined in my DNA, and I watched that show religiously. And one day during, I think it was World Tour, Total Drama World Tour, by then, I had been versed in fandom drama. I had always been, since 2013 when iCarly ruined my life, a person who resided in the shipping fandom. I've
no.
always, yeah. So I've, so I wasn't a person who would go out and flame somebody, but I would also always look at like the message boards and what they would say and finding that part of fandom incredibly interesting. Okay? So, with all that in mind, so whenever it happened, okay, there was a commercial for a little Lego show that looked great. And I was like, oh, I've only ever heard gibberish out of Lego mouths, you know? I was like, maybe I need to watch some Lego content, I guess. So I watched the pilots day one, and I immediately fell in love with it. But fun fact about me, I didn't get into the fandom proper until 2021, deep into
Really?
COVID. And there was a reason. Something happened during 2016 to 2017, right about Hands of Time, right before season 8 dropped. And I lost my mind and I watched season 8 and then I stared at the ceiling for a couple of minutes. And so I had actually been doing podcasts and fanfics and shipping content for a little show on Nickelodeon called Hey Arnold. Um,
Oh.
they were coming back with the Hey Arnold Jungle movie, and I came up with a lot of friends who live across the world, and slowly but surely became more versed in more fandom things, and I started a Tumblr for Hey Arnold for the Jungle Movie news. Got over 1,000 followers. And I said, this is really fun. I like doing this. And then COVID happened, and then Ninjago March the Oni came out, and I was satisfied with that conclusion, and I didn't know it continued until like late 2020.
That's really funny.
And my two favorite characters were Cole and Nia, and me versed in the shipping fandom and me liking character dynamics so much. I was like, I know this love triangle's written terribly, but I can't help it. Why is there connection between their kids and their school, and they're connecting on this train for some reason? Why is this speaking to me? And so, knee deep in the fandom, I was actually looking at Cole and Nia content most of the time, and up till Seabound, I was not spoiled for a thing. I didn't look at the sets, okay? I never looked in the Lego aisle. I was okay with looking for episodes on Wikipedia. Um, and basically, how I entered the fandom was slowly, but all at once, okay? So, so on Tumblr, I had the Ninjago hashtag saved in my things. And I was like, hey, Ninjago's got things underneath it. What's going on? I saw an image of Water Nia, and I said, what the heck is that? And so I went into the fandom on Twitter, and I saw all the memes, the bee water meme, the hydro whippers, the oh my god, why did Nia die? My shit. And I just had to get into it. So me in like a flustered state in the middle of COVID who had another hyperfixation, I binged the entirety of Wild Brain seasons, found out there was a Cole and Nia season, and I was gagged. And so I'm a theater graduate, I'm a theater major, and one of the things that my theater professor who dealt with technology once told me, if you have a thing that you think makes you stand out when you're creating a website or creating a Twitter handle or creating all those things, you need to find something unique about yourself and post it online, and that'll cultivate engagement, more engagement. So I said, bet. And I named myself Konya Crystal. I took a picture of the Lego Ninjago movie, which I saw in theaters, by the way, art where they had Cole and Nia next to each other in the promo art, put it as my avatar, and I went wild. I met Kevin. Through Kevin, I met Cheesy and Trist and everything else. And everyone else. They've been nothing but kind to me, which me jumping head first and calling myself a heathen first probably helped. Because probably hardly anybody shared my opinion anyway. So I was like, okay, I'm coming into this fandom. They probably would hate me on sight and block me, which a few have. And so I was like, okay, I know I'm a heathen. It's fine. I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna talk to people. And I did. And now I'm on NinjagoCast. And it seems incredibly surreal. Whenever Seabound was happening, I found a NinjagoCast through the Master of the Mountain and Seabound NinjagoCast React. And I fell in love with you guys talking over the show and talking about all the things that were happening. And then I rewatched old episodes from Hands of Time and y'all guys' reaction to Comic-Con whenever you saw that clip of season 8
Good
and
times.
even when the first 2 episodes of season 8 came out together. And I was like, I had been watching NinjagoCast basically ever since then. No matter how long the podcast, whether it was 3 hours, 4 hours. And every time that it would come on, I would be so it would be so great. You guys were my you are still my favorite Ninjago podcast that I've ever listened to. You guys are funny, you're insightful. Talking about the show more has helped me grow as a person who analyzes television and really helped with my career, basically analyzing a lot more text and strengthening myself as a writer. I'm a fanfic writer now. People come into my comment section and ask me for more. Cheesy can vouch for me.
For real, for real.
I have late night chapter readings of my Colonia fanfic Wellspring. Every time that I post a chapter, I beta read it to them. And they're like,
That's
"Where's
awesome.
the new one? Where's the new one?" So I've and then I started doing a little bit of YouTube videos. The first one that I think got a lot of traction first was a little thing called What Your Ninjago Ship Says About You.
Oh,
And it blew up. Like it's closing in on like 4,000 views right now.
very
And
nice.
I met Cheesy and known Cheesy for a while with my other thing that I did, my almost like 3.5 hour Colonia podcast where I sat down for 3 hours and 84 slides, basically explaining
Yep.
myself to the point where I'm so lucky and so thankful that I have so many Ninjago friends now and so many people that I looked up to that I get to talk to and enjoy the show with. So, yeah, that's been my experience so far.
That is
And
awesome and incredibly
I
wholesome.
want more. I'm never gonna
Is
have
Yeah.
enough.
is there I've not seen this Ninjago ship video. I am possibly the most removed from any shipping culture of anyone that I think any of you
Yes.
know. But is there a section that ships Dareth with money and fame?
What?
No.
It was about Cole and Nia, not Darren.
What's your favorite Ninjago
Well, no,
ship
no,
says about you?
Oh, right. Now, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so so go ahead and name like one of the regular Ninjago ships, and I
Well,
probably have one in this video.
Dareth and Gale gossip.
They're begging me to make another one. Not that one, but I do have. Well, it's like
No others
it's
matter.
like you
Sorry.
just want good things for Dareth. FBI, he's over there. Open up. Gale needs to be protected.
Bro.
Anyway.
That was incredibly wholesome and a very good story. And when we come back around, I look forward to hearing about all the fandom toxicity and the infighting and the drama. Because
Oh,
I'm sure
sure.
there's a lot.
Oh yeah, like
Alright.
no lie, no lie.
Re-
There's
real quick,
always toxicity in that.
I
Yes, Elder?
I just just a quick note here, because in the YouTube chat, World of Cars Entertainment said, yeah, after what Dareth said to Sora, I'm against him. I just want to put this out there. I'm not current on the show. I have not yet seen the latest season. I don't remember where I last left off. So if something happened, I'm not recalling it.
You watched season 3
Oh,
part 2.
okay. What happened was, and I was actually at Comic-Con. So did you know that there was a scene that was read during Comic-Con about fan mail?
No.
Oh, okay. So
No.
There was
what-
one, and it
Yeah,
happens
so there
there.
was
You
one,
can watch it.
and it
You
happens.
can watch it
yeah.
catch up there.
All right. I'm gonna show this to LJ later and make him question his life choices.
Oh, great. Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much. It's
That's
like
my favorite pastime.
yeah, you're not wrong.
All
Also,
right.
real quick, thank you, Modern, for the $5 super chat. Hi, just joining in the episode.
Hey.
Happy 100 episodes. Missed the antics ensuing. How's everyone doing? Here's to 100 more episodes. P.S. Yellow Lightning is ugly.
Heck yeah.
Dude, I'm having a great time. I'm enjoying hearing people's lore. This is really good. And now
yeah.
I want to know Cube lore. Cube, please
dear.
share your tale.
Hold on, let me get my notes.
Oh, you have notes.
Oh,
Epic.
you have
Smart,
notes?
smart of you to bring notes. I should have brought.
Well,
them.
I only had notes because I could talk for an hour about it, but I wanted to just have it short. So
Yeah.
bullet points.
Feel free to go in depth.
Okay, so you can hear me fine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So in 2011, I've kind of been watching since 2011, but it was a lot later in the year. I was around 7, and it was the last day of school before summer, and we were doing like raffles and stuff in the class, and then like the winners would get Lego polybags. I got one of them, and it ended up being like the Ninjago Kai polybag, the one with like a tiny flame dragon. I don't really know what it is, but that's what I ended up getting. So I kind of had that and a skeleton for the summer, but I had no idea anything else existed Ninjago wise the entire summer, until I saw the 2012 annual, and I saw like the other ninja in like different colors, and I needed the others. So that Christmas, or no, before, a few weeks before Christmas, I got the J Skulkin bike, a small coal set, and then for Christmas I got the Dojo Showdown and the video game for the DS, which came with the Pilot's DVD. So that's how I was able to watch it, because our country, Ireland and UK, did not actually get the show until 2014, which is crazy. And yet we still ended up getting season 3 before the US got season 3 because of how bad their schedule was.
Bruh.
But yeah, so by the end of 2011, I was kind of into it, but I didn't think much of it yet. And then in January of 2012, I went into the toy shop and I saw there was Green Ninja branding, and green was my favorite color. So that's kind of what got me hooked on the show, I'm not gonna lie. So that year I was kind of looking more on YouTube because I had to watch the show via YouTube, like it wasn't airing here. The most stuff I watched besides the show was actually stop motion videos, like old stop motion series. That was mainly what I was watching from like 2012 to around 2017. And then a few set leaks I remember at the time, because this was all new to me. I was still very new to the internet. And then when with 2014, and then season 3 kind of came out in some countries early with like a really bad TV recording of it. And I think Zane's death was the first time I definitely experienced crying at a show or a movie, and I don't know what to make of that. But it was really good. And then that same year was my first exposure to like actual like Ninjago reviews. I think I had watched one of your videos on it at this point, and a lot of the ones I saw were people complaining about Zane's death or setting up petitions to bring him back. I remember some of those.
What?
That was funny though.
Why bother setting up a petition? He was literally back at the end of the episode.
I know. So I don't know. They were so angry though. It was so funny though. Yeah. So I kind of stuck around, and then in 2016, I actually had a I actually had a Lego stop motion channel, which still exists. I'm not gonna say it. It's gonna stay buried somewhere on YouTube, where I did no. I actually forget the name, but I know it's still up out there somewhere. Where I did a few like season 1 videos with the Kai. But then I wasn't really fully involved with the fandom. Like I was kind of an outsider. Like I would see when there was a bit of like drama or when there was leaks and such. But most of my time was just spent around the stop motion part of the community. It wasn't until 2018, 2019 where I got like properly involved like online. Like I joined like some Discord servers and I met a lot of people who I'm still very close with to this day. And I started to get a lot more critical on the show around that time, coincidentally, getting more in the fandom. And then I started to try out making some videos around the time as well. From then, from around 2019 to about 2024, like focusing on some of the seasons or the character arcs, like stuff I was mostly into. And I would appear a good bit on Krusty's channel, who we mentioned before. But my most successful videos, for some reason, were always the shipping ones. And most of those ones are the only ones that are still up. Because I forget, was it last year or 2024? Lego just kind of removed a lot of videos from YouTube covering Ninjago.
Yeah.
So most of my ones got
the great
like,
copyright
killed.
purge.
Yeah, except for the shipping ones. They all stayed somehow. They didn't want to go near that. Yeah, so I guess like my shipping stuff is what most people would have known me for. And I guess it got the most attention because I guess commentary on ships is not as covered on YouTube as it is on other platforms, or like people talk about seasons or actual character stuff more than that stuff. But I found it more interesting just talking about like dynamics between the characters or ships and what makes some ships more popular than others, and kind of the stigma around shipping culture and how it's kind of changed a lot in recent years. I think it's gotten a bit better, especially how it used to be years and years ago. But yeah, that's basically it for me in terms of my journey, anyways.
Epic.
From what I remember.
Heck yeah.
I love that. Once again, we all have a unique origin, like the stop motion. As much as you might want to bury that, I find it cool to see how,
Yeah.
like, you know, that's
Oh,
another
no,
art
they
form that people
definitely
have, like,
exist.
dabbled in.
Oh no, yeah, I love the stop motions. But
People come into my comment section and ask me for more. Cheesy can.
Huh? Did you cut out? What was that?
Sorry.
I think
There
that
was something
like-
playing?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
you're
my
good.
bad.
No, you're all good.
No,
I thought you were saying something.
Yeah, I thought you were
All
speaking
right.
up
I was like,
first
she
too,
sounds
and
so
then I realized
muffled.
it was
What's
not.
going on?
Bindo,
Is it my turn?
you're,
Okay. So, like most of all of you, I've been watching this show since the beginning. Maybe not as much of the beginning, like being there day one when the pilot aired. I remember watching the pilot like with my dad, and thinking like, oh, this is fun. I was very young at the time. But I had a friend, and this was like when season 1 was airing. Or I think it was about before season 1 started airing, like right before when the pilots were big, but they were kind of pushing out the next wave of sets. And he was so hyped about it. He was so excited. He had so much of the pilot stuff, and you know, through that friend, I got into Ninjago, and it was just kind of like this magical time when you're younger of just like waiting on Cartoon Network for each episode to come out. watching it live on TV and just being excited to go to the store and get a set. And like I remember when I first got my first Lloyd minifig, because they were hyping up the Green Ninja so much, and it was just this super hype thing of oh, you have the Green Ninja, you have the Green Ninja, and it was so fun. And I kept up with the show. I watched it all the way up, you know, saw the final battle live on TV on vacation with my grandparents. And I just have so many memories of just watching episodes when they came out live back in those early days. And I was one of the many kids who were very, very upset when the show ended. And you know, I remember season 3 came out, rebooted, all these things happened. You know, I kept watching the show throughout the years. And as I got older, I kind of, you know, I was still into the show, but I was kind of like thinking about it deeper and having more of these conflicting feelings on like certain seasons and certain plot points, but I didn't really know. I was like, I like this, but I don't know why I like this and not this other thing. And it would become a thing of me being like, what do other people think? And I feel like this is where I truly started to grow the obsession in my mind of like, I need to hear other people's like takes on things, because it's always so fascinating to me. I don't know what it is in my brain. I just love hearing people talk about media, especially media that I'm obsessed with. It just you know, hits something in my brain. But the problem is that once you get to the era of like, when you're in the era of Hands of Time and the movie's coming up and Sons of Garmadon's coming up, no shade to anyone who was making Ninjago content at the time, but it was kind of a wasteland of like anything of substance. I'd go on YouTube and I'd be searching so hard, like discussion about Ninjago, and it would just be like set reviews, which, you know, were fine. I was still kind of into the sets at that time, but not nearly as much as when I was younger. It would be like videos, but it'd be like surface level things of like Ninjago theories and like talking about the redesigns of the movie and that whole controversy, and a lot of the content just didn't really dive into the story and the characters as much as I wanted it to, because that's where I was really starting to hyper focus my interest. And as I become like more interested in media as a whole and in writing and all that kind of stuff, I wanted more in-depth discussion on that. And it's funny how much NinJagoCast actually plays a role in my like space in the community, because it is discovering NinJagoCast that was the first thing that was like, this is what I'm looking for. Like, this is what I've been searching for. It was like stumbling across like a treasure trove of discussion and content, and this was just when like the Hands of Time discussions were wrapping up, I believe. And I binged through all those podcasts, and I was just so obsessed just listening to people just talk about this show in a way that didn't feel super surface level or like they were trying to like beg clicks out of you. It was just like, this is our opinion, we're talking about it, we're sitting down, it's a discussion, as simple as that. But it hooked me, and it got me thinking more about the show even more than I had been before. So by the time the movie came out, by the time Sons of Garmadon came out, I was like knee deep in the fandom, in not participating, but more so lurking, just watching everything unfold.
Yeah, we love
seeing,
lurking.
you know, watching a piece of content, having my opinion on it, and being like, okay, I wonder how other people feel. I wonder how NinJagoCast feels about this, and it was always super fun, kind of being in the space at that time. But it was not until much later, much after I kind of dropped off the show a bit after March of the Oni. I remember watching season 11 for the first time and just being like, okay, maybe this isn't for me anymore. And then I heard that Cole got a season, and I was like, wait a second, I might have to watch this. having completely skipped basically like all of Prime Empire and everything before,
No.
you know, and watching watching Master of the Mountain and being
Twinsies.
like, I remember watching Master of the Mountain for the first time and being like, okay, wait, this is actually this is good. And then I finished Master of the Mountain and I was like, that was really good. What the heck? What happened to this show? So I went back, I rewatched season 11, still didn't really like it. Watched Prime Empire, didn't really like it. Rewatched Master of the Mountain like a billion times. And then like The Island and Seabound came out, and I remember like the night I finished Seabound, like I had to go into Discord and DM my friends like, guys, you guys have to get back into the Ninjago. This show's really good. And like I got so many of my friends on board. We like around that time was when like a bunch of like I rewatched the entire show. I was just Ninjago everything. I was rewatching things. I was watching videos. I was doing all this stuff, but I was still looking at the YouTube community all this time later, and I'm like, it still hasn't evolved as much as I would have hoped. There are still good things happening. NinJagoCast, I was still tuning in, and that was as great as usual, if not even better. But I was just like, what am I looking for here? And I discovered, because on top of everything else, I'd always kind of wanted to do YouTube stuff. I've had very, you know, I've had past YouTube endeavors that have done all right, crashed and burned, etc. But this was the point where I'm like, I'm gonna put my foot in the door. I'm gonna start making stuff that I want to see from the community. And it's funny that this happened at around this time. This was I'm like searching for a date because my first video was on Sons of Garmadon. And like Cube mentioned, there was a big copyright like wave that hit a bunch of channels on YouTube, which means a lot of my old videos are unfortunately just gone. Like you can't watch them anymore. But my first video was uploaded August 16th, 2021. Lego Ninjago's biggest redemption, Sons of Garmadon. And I don't know how it's like for a lot of other channels, but it seems that around this time I wasn't the only one thinking this, because you have videos from other channels. Like the biggest I can think of is Krusty. Started doing stuff at around the same time I did, I believe. And you kind of had this huge new wave of Ninjago YouTubers, which was really fun, because not only did it mean, hey, I have a bunch of brand new friends to talk about Ninjago with, but it also meant these videos are getting numbers. Like, this initial video has over 100,000 views. The next video I made, the Skybound video, the very poorly aged J video on Skybound, I must say, is currently, it is still up. It is at over 300k views. Wow. And like, these videos started off kind of slow, but it didn't take long for them to start picking up. And so I just kept making them and making them and making them, and it felt, looking back on it now, it feels like it happened almost overnight, but it was months of just being obsessed and making videos and seeing people join in and watch and actually be like excited to see what I had to say, which just, it felt strange, but it was so fun. And that's just kind of how I just kind of spiraled into me making more things. I kept making video essays. I got into Monkey Kid, started making videos on that. Dragon's Rising came out and all that stuff, and at that point, that was kind of the time where I was like, I was still keeping up with NinJagoCast. Crystallized had happened, obviously. That was another big thing, is the Crystallized video, which is a huge project for me at the time, the 1 hour video. And I remember that kind of being the main, like, my main thing people knew me for a while. And it was around that time when on NinJagoCast, LJ had mentioned, hey, we're kind of in this weird spot after Crystallized. And we want to bring more people on. We want to have a broader community discussion. We want to invite more people. And I'd sent LJ an email basically saying, "Hey, I like talking in depth about Ninjago. I've been following you guys for forever now. I'd love to be on an episode." And ever since then, the rest is history. And I have the insane, like, mind-boggling honor to be hosting NinjagoCast on this very channel, and hosting it for its 100th episode, which is just
Awesome.
I don't know how I got here, but
Heck
I'm
yeah.
so happy and I'm so thankful.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. This is fun. So let's recap. We've got old, ancient, unk status, story, Lego theme fans. We've got Tumblr fan art. We've got stop motion animation. We've got analytical videos. We've got shipping culture. We've got art and animatics. We've got fanfic. We've got everything covered except mocks. Does anyone mock?
No,
You-
I'm not.
you
I'm
mock?
not that creative. There's too
If
many like
only.
moving parts in my brain. I usually like things that are streamlined. So if you give me too many options at once, I tend to
Slowly
go.
started trying to get into mocks.
Oh no, the
but
lag is back.
turns
You
out
know,
people
the lag is
don't have
back.
interest in
Transformation into an
it.
android.
Ninja moment. Hello.
Hello. I was just gonna comment. I mean, listen, I understand. Too many options isn't a great thing, which is why I love going in and out, where the menu is just so easy and they're just the right amount of options.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Not
thank you. This
sponsored.
podcast is sponsored by In and Out.
It's not sponsored
not
by In-N-Out.
sponsored.
What's that about?
Not sponsored.
But
we should
do
be.
with anything.
Yeah, welcome
Not
to
at all.
LJ. LJ will weave stuff in from his personal agenda sometimes.
Oh wow.
Listen, when I heard that, it was the first thing that came to my mind.
That was a very weird transition.
I'm sorry. I feel compelled.
Also,
No, for real, In and Out is good though. You ever tried the Flying Dutchman? Would recommend.
two things I wanted to mention. First off,
Yeah.
Human Discord, they posted the image of the J image that I made for the thumbnail of the J video, which became like a lot of my early thumbnails became like just widely used images, like the J video and the Prime Empire one specifically. They just became widely used images for a while, which was always so funny.
That's awesome.
And then also, in the live chat, Once a Pro Star mentioned that apparently a lot of my Monkey Kid fan songs and stuff have also been blocked, which is news to me. I guess the copyright block wave just keeps on rolling.
Oh no.
But if you wanna listen to those, they're also on Spotify and they're also on YouTube Music. So
All right. Fair enough.
But anyways.
Well, I think you touched on something as we go back around the table. Bendo, you touched on something very important, which was the message sent after Crystallized to kind of like bring you on board and to try to like expand our perspectives, because that's kind of like the undercurrent theme of all this is like we had people from like our group on NinjagoCast, but like over time people kind of fell off. Like Ninjago, you know, people were into it for a time. Not everybody in TTV stuck with it, and we were really like bleeding interest, you could say, for a long time. I think there was a point, Elge, where we were struggling to get like 3 people on podcasts. It was pretty bad, and I forget what era that was in specifically, but it did happen. And I think it was just because, yeah, go ahead.
I'm trying to look, and I mean, there was a stretch where it was just 3 people from roughly July of 2018 until July of 2020. That stretch, it was just you, Haley, and I. And then Sakota came aboard, and then we ended up having more people consistently after that.
Oh yeah. So around season 11, season 12 then.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. So like we needed new blood and we needed other perspectives because there was definitely a rut for a while, I think. And to kind of talk about like some of the challenges we faced. I remember there was a lot of frustration, at least on my behalf, because I'm always Mr. Negative about everything, seemingly everything I follow. There were points where like Ninjago just kept letting me down, and I remember I would just keep getting frustrated with stuff that was going on. The Skybound ending, Hands of Times, everything. Uh, I didn't like Hunted when it first came out. I thought March of the Oni was a massive disappointment. I hated the 11-minute episode era. I thought the Ice chapter was abysmal. That's still true, but like other things I've kind of chilled out on with the benefit of hindsight. Prime
Chill.
Empire I thought was terrible. Crystallized like there was a large stretch there where like most things Ninjago was coming out with just weren't clicking for me at all. And like, not to say criticism isn't good and fine, but like some opinion variety is good too. Having people that appreciate different things of the fandom, people that like, character vibes, people that can have discussions on like character arcs and story threads and presentation and music and the role the music plays in the show and like leitmotifs and everything. Like, there's a lot of facets that go in the Ninjago, and having other perspectives is really good. And there were points, Elge, where we were involved, kind of like how should I put it? We stayed out of the creative space of the fandom largely. Like, you and I aren't like artists in a traditional sense. You've done more than I have, though. But even so, and we're not fanfic writers either. But there were times where we dabbled in stuff. And I know like you have some interesting stories about like certain community projects
Yes.
and things. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about
Yes.
that.
I would love to. So, while I would definitely say we have not been as involved in the Ninjago community, the artistic side of it, as everyone else here has, we've definitely done stuff. We made a lot of videos. Like the last 15, 16-ish years have been us making videos on a variety of subjects, and that includes Ninjago. And there are obviously NinjagoCast. We made a video, oh goodness, a few years ago, 3 years ago. It was the Ultimate Ninjago Recap, which was a lot of fun to make. But there was another big project that many of you might remember, is the Ninjago documentary that was released 5 years ago. And it was a lot of interviews with creatives behind Ninjago, kind of talking about the community. Did anyone here watch that video, the documentary?
Yes.
I think I
did.
did,
Yeah.
but
Long
it's been
ago,
a
long
long,
ago.
long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Again,
it's
5
been a
years
long
ago.
time.
Memory's fuzzy.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
That's wild.
A lot of people don't know this. I was involved in making it, but I'm not credited for anything.
Which is messed up. You should have been credited.
Well,
No.
it was partially my choice because
Wait, what? Never mind. You're messed up then.
Wait. There's a fun story from it. I think it's not, but I did help edit that, but only one portion of it. There is a section of that video. It's a thank you from the fans section, and Meso, you and I are actually in that part.
Yippee!
I did edit. I did the initial rough draft of that edit. And the person that was really like producing it, I edited it in her style because I spent enough time watching the stuff that she edited. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do this the way that she does it. So it did, to help her out because she was under an incredible amount of crunch. So I'm like, I'll go ahead and take care of this, run it by you. You make whatever modifications you need to. So she makes it. And I made it. She made what changes she needed that needed to be made, and whatever she ended up editing made it into the final cut. And it was mostly, she only added a few things. I'm like, okay. I told her, don't credit me because I really just edited it in your style. So it's basically like it's essentially an extension of you. So just you did it. It's no big deal. Well,
Really fun.
apparently there was another person that was actually supposed to edit it, and they had a rough draft themselves, and then they lost it or it got corrupted or something, so it had to be redone. So I didn't know that at the time. I made the segment, sent it to the main producer, the main editor. Later on, I think that year, I went to Brick Fair, Virginia, and I'm meeting a whole bunch of different people in the community for the first time, a whole bunch of folks that worked on the documentary as well. And a person that I'd never met before came up and said, "Hey, nice to meet you. I'm the one that edited the fan thank you segment for the documentary."
Wow.
And I was like, what? Had
That's so
no
funny.
clue. None. So this person's introducing themselves as the person that edited the part of the video that I did make. and
Wow.
and it's funny to me because it's one of those things where that was such a big thing at the time, and it was one of a handful of things that we were kind of involved with in the background, or at least knew about or helped in some capacity over the years, that isn't really known, which really goes to show the large breadth of this franchise and community. It's just one segment of just this massive theme and franchise.
Yeah.
And I think
No,
a
it's
lot of
really
that
cool.
also ties into a lot of the conversations that Meso and I have had with people over the years that are involved with Ninjago.
Absolutely. I mean, we've spoken extensively with the former showrunner Tommy Andresen over the years. Like I mentioned before, like he he was kind enough to follow our coverages and podcasts, and some of them were played in the writers room, which was a really humbling experience, and it was cool to have that dialogue, and be a part of that in that way, because you want to kind of give back to this thing that you're investing in if possible, and we were always grateful for any opportunities that we had. After a point in time, we that kind of stopped. I forget when exactly, LJ, but I want to say it was like around Sons of Garmadon time, if I remember correctly.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think our last correspondence was like direct correspondence for many years was around like Sons of Garmadon time. And all it's part of an interesting phenomenon that I do kind of want to touch on a bit. I know you have some opinions on it too, Elge, but like I think the way that the Ninjago creators have interacted with the Ninjago fandom has always been something I've been super interested in, because back in my day, the Bionicle author Greg Farshty, he spent many years interacting with people on the Bionicle fan websites and answering questions and such.
Since 2003, which I think is around the time many of you guys were born.
Yeah, up until, I mean, as recently as a few years ago, when he was still doing it. So there's been kind of a tradition in the Lego fandom of like creators that are kind of plugged into the fandom discourse, and with Ninjago it was no different. Like Tommy and the other creatives used to be on Twitter a lot, interacting with people. I know the Hagman brothers for a time were very active, and it was cool seeing that develop. Over time, I do think it manifested in some negative ways as well. And when we talk about stuff that's happened over the years that kind of we have a vested interest in, I definitely think this is one that I feel strongly about, because I think people's relationship with Ninjago over the years was very, how do I put this, Elge, in a nice way. It was very, I guess you could say unhealthy. Because Ninjago is cool. Ninjago is awesome. It's a good story. It's a good story with good characters and fun moments and production value and cool fights and stuff. But at the end of the day, when all's said and done, we can sit here on this podcast and be like, well, it is a show at the end of the day. It's a piece of media. And it is a piece of media that's created primarily for kids. And that does not mean that adults can't find meaning in it. That doesn't mean there isn't meaning to be found. But at the end of the day, keep in mind like what it's made for and kind of try to judge it on that merit. And I feel like that's something that the fandom has struggled with a lot over the years, both with coming to grips with that truth and then how they personally interact with the theme. And I think the creators being plugged into fandom discourse, I don't think was always good for the show, personally speaking. I think I can recall tons of times that I witnessed, even Tommy specifically on Twitter, getting into pretty heated exchanges with what were probably like teenagers just saying like random stuff that really had no bearing on anything, just throwing their opinion out into the void. But because it was part of this like fandom creator one back and forth conversation, he got really mad about that and would like fire back at these teenagers. And I'm like, oh, that's probably not the best thing to be doing. It's probably not the best use of your time. And then the other side of the fandom would see that happen and see people, being kind of mean to Tommy and like throwing out what were probably insults his way or whatever. And then they would fire back kind of on the polar opposite side of the spectrum and be like, how dare you disrespect Tommy Andresen and Ninjago as a franchise, this wonderful, creative, amazing, perfect masterpiece of an art form. This is above you and your petty critiques. This is not something we should be engaging with whatsoever. And these weren't like random offshoots that Zane fan 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 on Twitter account made yesterday. Like these were people like in the community, that people that we even knew, people that would have this kind of overinflated sense of the show's quality to the point where even good faith criticism was kind of viewed as like a knock on the show. And I think over time, at least some of the creatives, I think, kind of bought into that notion just a bit. Is that fair to say, Elge?
Yeah, no, I definitely think there was quite a difference between the creator community interactions that we experienced growing up with Bionicle and I think what a lot of people in the Ninjago community experience now. Because the creators are very in tune with community discussions and conversations. And for a time there, they were like everywhere. They were very, very invested and very clicked in. And sometimes you would have fans that were really close with the creatives behind it. And sometimes that would influence story decisions. And not always in the best of ways. But I also think that it is potentially, it's one of those things. So, celebrities have been getting very involved and invested in streaming and being present in a lot of ways, very accessible, more so than potentially any time in the past. And I don't remember who said the quote, but someone was talking about how if you are always making yourself seen and available, it will inevitably kind of decrease the value and quality of the things you're in and visible in that people go to see. Because why would they need to go to see it if they can just see you all the time? And that logic kind of applies to the creators behind Ninjago during this time, because they were constantly present, they were always around, and they were always involved in these community conversations and discussions. And sometimes it resulted in kind of some awkward conversations, like Mesa was talking about with Tom Andreas, and having some less than pleasant conversations. Perhaps discussions with fans that were worded in a way that wouldn't have been worded that way otherwise, dependent on the platform. And so it's interesting to see how that kind of changed and evolved. And I think right now things are pretty good because the creators kind of take a bit of a step back from community discussions. Like they still interact with the community, but it's not quite as consistent and always online.
I mean, Doc Wyatt is interacting with fans a lot, and he's doing like Q&A even in the present day. But like, I don't know. I know some people get annoyed with some of the stuff he like answers. I know some people clown on it, but it seems to be more good natured and just kind of lighthearted about it. Which is better for everybody, I think. Because I know, like we, like even in our communication and our own experience, there was a marked shift in pre Sons of Garmadon era, I would say, and then post Sons of Garmadon era in terms of like creator community dialogue and kind of seemingly from like an outsider, the feeling that the showrunners have about like the show that they are making, if that makes sense. Because like Ninjago, it was an up and coming thing. It was trying to prove itself. And then it had some rough patches. It got canceled early on, not canceled. It ran out its 3-year course. Then it came back and it had to kind of prove itself again and reestablish dominance. Hit some rocky spots along the way. Skybound, famously divisive. Hands of Time, not that great. And then the Oni trilogy happened, and I think that's when, in a lot of people's minds, it got elevated to like masterpiece status, like master class. And so to criticize it after that point, there was almost like a backlash where it's like, oh no, this is fantastic now. This is above reproach. That scene where Cole falls into the pit and then the smoke Oni is coming to like infect him and turn him into stone, and it's right there next to him. And then the next episode, it cuts back and it's like 4 feet away from him for no apparent reason. So he's able to get up and run away. Cinema, Oscar winning. Like, take him to the Oscars for that. And so like it kind of put me in a weird space because I mean I always tried to keep it real, even way back when. And like I said, one of my fandom experiences was learning how to phrase myself better and learning how to articulate myself better. But I still wanted to be honest. And there was a certain point in NinjagoCast's life where I began to question if the honesty was as well received as it maybe used to be, if that makes sense. Because maybe I was like, oh, well, am I being too critical? Is that an appreciated thing anymore? You know, like it's a tightrope to walk. But I decided to keep doing what I was doing. And when there was things to praise, I praised them. Like in our journey, I think Seabound was really good. Master of the Mountain, fantastic time to be a Ninjago fan. And then Crystallized.
Is this going to be added to the counter?
I mean, it could be.
Maybe.
Who knows? But like, I don't really have much to say. Everybody knows Crystallized. Like, that was definitely the point where I think there was the most tonal dissonance. This thing that was hyped up, kind of similar to March of the Oni. Now that I think about it, remember Tommy did those like dramatic posters that he would release on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
One
Oh,
ninja
God, yeah.
will fall. One ninja must make the ultimate choice, or whatever it was. And like, one ninja will descend into the darkness. And it's like, whoa, okay, chill out. It's like a it's a mid TV special, bro. Like, relax. And then Crystallized was also billed as being the Avengers Endgame of Ninjago, complete with a literal poster. It comes out, and it's the most, like, to this day, it kind of almost feels like a spiteful checklist of every bad thing you could do to make the fandom annoyed possible. And it's like, how do you reconcile that when clearly the intent was to, like, the perception was that this was going to be this cinematic event And there's legit conversations still had to this day over whether Hands of Time is worse. So like that's kind of hard for me to reconcile, but obviously you can never fully know what goes on in the writers' room, and we
No.
talked about that for so many hours, and I'm just glad the quality has kind of rebounded, although I have my concerns
Yeah. Can
that we're
can
gonna
I
be
say
approaching a similar thing. Yeah.
yeah, can I say something to that? So, I've always found it interesting about that kind of discourse because genuinely whenever Tommy Andreasen is reacting to the people who saw Crystallized and hated it. He had been sitting on that project fully in the can for maybe like a year already. We know how usually Lego Ninjago works in the production cycle, and they're already planning and already doing seasons in advance before we even get to see it. So I think all of the discourse at this point, no matter what side of the fandom you're on, whether it's the consistent inconsistency of the writing of Ninjago over the years, or the shipping fandom, or the people who watch the show versus the people who create the show, it's always based on their feelings of ownership. And when a series has been around for this long, everyone has a different kind of ownership towards a ship, a character, a, a creator, a celebrity, a just any random thing. And that ownership can lead to toxicity because how dare you? This is the thing that means the most to me. And that's usually where toxicity from a fandom standpoint usually stems. Some people aren't usually ready to let go of certain opinions that they feel so deeply for. I think the um I think it's very interesting also from a technological perspective where in 2011, 2012, most YouTube videos would be copyright struck or there it wasn't easily accessible and we will all have to watch it on TV and on forums. And now the people who were growing up with the show that were I don't know 7 or 8 at the time now have social media and are used to taking ownership over their channels and their opinions and their accounts and using that to streamline their identity as a person and and as a person in a fandom community. And sometimes there are people who can look past those things, like me. Sometimes I look past those things because I know opinions are opinions and everyone's going to have one and they're going to be different. But there are some people who can't let go and who are angry at maybe the decisions that they make. And it's all internally laced in ownership and the way we approach media in general. And
Yeah.
that's why it feels so divided, probably after Crystallize more than ever, because of how much we took ownership that Ninjago was great, good even, right? Until it took a plunge and then we're back on again. It's that emotional
You're
roller
right.
coaster of ownership that we're constantly on. And I'm actually thankful and glad that conversations like this can exist in fandom because it just makes technically it makes the fandom stronger and move past even more bad controversies and provide connection, which is
Yep.
something that I have found very much in my aspect, which is just following the people who love the intentionality of something that exists in the show and in the writers room that bigwigs probably can't comment on, but we have that ownership and we have that connection. It's just sometimes we hold on a little bit too tight, and that's just something as a fandom that we usually just have to attend with, contemplate with,
No, I
and
mean you're
play with.
certainly correct. I think that like the struggle that we've faced, I would say, is how do you walk the line and be
Yeah.
like, well, I don't want to be the guy that hates everything. But
And yet,
I also feel that toxic positivity is just as destructive as negativity because it
Yeah.
sets you up for a fall. Like, is it fair, Elge, that that's been like a recurring theme over the years with us?
oh yeah, 100%.
Even
I mean,
behind the scenes, like there have been many things with people where like the mere notion to say that Ninjago is a kids show is almost viewed as like an insult, essentially.
yeah,
When
Crazy.
it's not, it's
Mhm.
just a fact that that is what it is.
Oh,
it is
yeah.
in fact what it is.
Um,
But they
like
showed a skeleton.
true.
That's a
Moro
great point. You know
died
what?
that one
Skeleton with a
time.
green scarf. Dang, that's cinema.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And I one thing I wanted to. Okay, these are two stupid jokes I want to say real quick because I need to get them out of my head.
Is it about In and Out?
No, no in and out this time. But it should be. No, you said that Ninjago had a bit of a rebound, and so that should be the Bound trilogy. You had Skybound, Seabound, and Rebound. The other one was if a lot of this discourse is about it stems from ownership over seasons, which I definitely agree about. It's ownership over what this media means to an individual and how long they've spent with it, and it's like a light form of gatekeeping in a way, where you have like
Yeah,
when I
exactly.
see someone or something or some like media account of some kind talking about something I'm super familiar with, I'm like, ooh, yeah, ooh, do I like that? Is that interesting? It's like it's jarring. But I will say when it comes to ownership, if we are being assigned like seasons that we have a higher investment in and some ownership over, I do not want to own Crystallized. That seems like a
No.
bad deal.
It's a bad deal all around. You get dunked on Discord every 5 seconds.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Crazy.
But that was it.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean that's just to summarize, like that's kind of really like for me and my experience in Ninjago, that is the point. And that's kind of like, to be honest, that's where my story almost ends, because then we're at present day, right?
Yeah.
Flash forward to right now, and I feel in my bones that the same thing's about to happen again. Not to turn it into a Dragon's Rising
Oh,
talk,
here we
but
go.
Sure.
Here we
I
go.
feel it that Dragon's Fury, this exact same thing is going to happen again. Except I think that the current showrunners have a better, like, healthier interaction with the fandom, and maybe there wouldn't be as much of like an explosion. And people, I feel this time, kind of see the writing on the wall. They've had concerns for years. I don't think anyone in good conscience can look at seasons 4 or 3 or whatever of Dragon's Rising and be like, this is a flawless masterpiece that transcends all other animated shows, and this is like the best thing ever made. I don't think anyone can say that in good conscience. So I don't think from a fandom perspective it's going to be as bad. But like, you can I think nowadays we have a better way of filtering out the things we enjoy about a show like Ninjago and kind of having a better relationship with it. But as for me, I'm still like, I really like certain things. I really don't like other things, and the way I'm trying to break my own personal cycle is to stop hoping for things that I know are unrealistic. No
Sure.
main character is going to die. That is not going to happen. The current ninja will not be retired, except for maybe Duskfall, which is totally canon, by the way. But things like that. They're not gonna do crazy dark stories. They're gonna keep it light for the most part. Stuff like that. Just I want to frame my experience with Ninjago in a way to where when I watch it, I know what I'm watching. And the way I do that personally, it's a kid's show. That does not mean there's not value in that, because a lot of people think of that reductively and like a kid's show has no merit. That's not true. Kids deserve good media. Kids
Yeah.
deserve intelligent, like media that has value and morals and emotional heart and fun character
Yeah.
interactions that you can take away.
And the
But
fun
it's
thing about
also a kid show.
yeah, and the fun thing about that is that whenever you have an incredibly good kid show, let's just throw up Avatar: The Last Airbender. People are still talking about that show to this
Mhm.
day, and they're still making movies and they're still making series. So if you believe in something and you make something good enough, not only will kids end up be watching that good thing forever, but those
Yeah,
kids will eventually grow up, remember it, and it lives on in some way, shape, or form. Like,
exactly.
that's what we want all kids media to be,
Yeah, I honestly think that's like
and what we strive for.
one of the biggest reasons
Yeah.
I've been so fascinated with Ninjago for so long is like it being a kids show is almost part of the hook for me because it you have to approach the writing in a way that first of all allows it to be entertaining, but more importantly allows it to deliver a message that sticks with an audience and sticks with kids and that they can apply to their lives and learn something from. And when Ninjago does that well, it is so immensely satisfying and like fun
Hmm.
to break down.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but when they do it, when they either refuse to have a message or just botch it in the way that a season like Crystallized does,
It's okay.
you have to inspect that a little bit because you have to like you have to see like in an instance like Crystallized how that could actively be harmful, and that can't be ignored in my opinion. And like in cases of other seasons that I just don't enjoy as much because they don't have strong messages, that's a whole other thing. But even things as recent as Dragon's Rising season 3 with stuff like Aaron's arc and stuff, I just they're not effectively sending a message that I think is one that should be taken away and one that can be clearly read. And I think that's part of the interesting part of dissecting Ninjago is it's like when are these writers able to deliver a clean message to kids that resonates with kids and also adults, and when do they kind of screw it up, and what can we learn from these writing choices and what can we take away from it?
Yeah, I mean that's totally true. And I know like my own personal struggle, like I've with trying to like parse out kind of community hype and then like finding the joy in it again in like my own way. I've seen that mirrored a lot in your videos, Kit, specifically like in the Dragon's Rising era. So I kind of wanted to turn it over to you and be like, you're you got into the fandom and you established yourself, but like from that point on, what's kind of your journey been like with Ninjago as a franchise and your own relationship with it?
Um, it has been I don't know. I think recently the real reckoning has been everything with Crystallized, um, which would like to go on the record again, as I have many times before, and say that I liked Dragon's Rising seasons 1 and 2.
No,
Um,
you hated it.
No,
everybody,
no.
all of the defenses of that video after the fact was like, it's okay, guys, if she didn't like it. She doesn't have to like it. And I'm like, no, I did like it. I just didn't think it was perfect. That's the only thing
It's
I
not
was
the
trying
same.
to
They don't
convey.
care.
I said so many times that I liked it, and somehow, even the people who came away liking the video were like, "It's okay. She just didn't have a good time with it." I'm like, "This is not, this is
Dude.
not what I'm saying." And you're saying that I am media illiterate. Are we sure? about
Yeah.
this?
For real.
Anyway, but I think the main thing is I just wasn't uh connecting in it in a fandom way that I was so used to connecting with Ninjago. Um and so that disconnect of like not feeling like we talked about earlier, like having some ownership over the show, like I had lost sense of ownership with this franchise that I liked, and had a couple of things that I was theorizing maybe were causing the disconnect, but every single time I tried to talk about it, like there was just no space for any criticism at the time. And uh so getting all of that out in the open was like just really necessary for me to like come to terms with where I was at with it. And uh by the time season 3 came around, I think I had finally spent enough time with the characters and the universe and whatever that having formulated my thoughts on the previous seasons so decisively, those two put together, I finally did have some sort of ownership over the franchise, even though everybody else seemed to realize that, oh, maybe the show isn't perfect.
Which is
Maybe
really
there's some-
funny, by the way.
Maybe there's some structural flaws in place. Anyway, it's so funny because if that video had come out like 2 weeks later, backlash goes way down.
It's
But
really funny.
I wanted to get it out before the next season came out. But anyway, so it's been a bit of a flip-floppy kind of time for like it seems like the past couple of years me and the fandom have been on very different pages about things, and I think season 4 is the first time that we've really lined up opinion-wise with the majority of what the fandom seems to think about the show
Some
currently.
people on Twitter were vicious towards you for no reason.
No, yeah.
No reason.
Like for
real.
literally no reason. I got offended on your behalf and
Yeah.
did like a rant.
I wouldn't say that
Like,
still
like-
makes me irrationally, not even irrationally angry, just reasonably angry. 'Cause it's like,
yeah, I mean, I guess my mistake was reading Twitter, but I mean, still, you know.
You gotta be careful. You
I
gotta
haven't
be
had
careful
Twitter
on
for,
Oh,
like,
Twitter.
believe
two-
me, honey. Just believe me, okay?
Yeah.
I have not
take it.
had Twitter for like 2 years now, so it's
You're
all foreign.
smart.
Whatever
You're-
happens.
You're a
No,
strong soldier.
I only go on Twitter if it is to screenshot old Tommy tweets for a video. It's the
Yeah.
current thing.
Respectable.
This is how we maintain sanity.
Now,
Um,
Kid, I was
yeah.
curious. In like the modern era, I think that's well established. But like, just a random question. But like, for me, this was kind of where it started. Like, what did you think of March of the Oni?
Thought it was great. I was having a great
Thought it was-
time.
Thought it was great. Did it like?
No,
did it live up
Look,
to the
you
hype?
gotta understand. You gotta understand. Pixel had something to do. She got a poster. She got more to do than Zane did. She got like a
true.
little solo
That's
plot with Lloyd, the main character. That's insane. That's
We
I
say
was
that and
eating
that like
very good.
for today's standards, that sounds ridiculous.
Oh, for sure.
That's
Kill for
fair
that kind of content right now.
I don't know. I just think like that's when it started with like the overhype. But you know, that's fair. That's fair to say. And I think like I mean your channel balances it really well because you do, 3-hour long breakdowns on how Ninjago treats its female characters and how like maybe from like a feminist perspective, Ninjago has a lot of flaws. And then you talk about whether the ninja can read or not. So like you know how to keep it light, It's not like
Yeah,
all
you gotta-
deep all the time.
All equally important topics, none of which have become completely irrelevant with certain new releases.
Wait a
Don't
second.
worry about it.
Can the ninja not read?
LJ, watch your video.
You
Have
gotta
not
you gotta
seen this
watch the video to find out.
Have you not seen this video?
Okay, all
You
right.
need to see that video.
It's
Posting it.
important journalism. It took a
yeah.
while to make.
I put that on
Genuinely,
at
it's
work.
my Genuinely, it's my favorite video you've made.
I
No joke.
am glad. A
It's
lot
really
of
funny.
a lot of time went into that one. So I'm glad that it did hit the community and resonate. So
Yeah. I don't know, it's just good. That's a good story. What are you like? I mean, are you happy with how things are going? Do you have like future plans? I guess. Like are
do
you
I
in-
have future plans?
I don't know. Are you gonna eat dinner tomorrow? Like, I don't know. Future plans. Like,
Yeah,
No, everything's done
I
now.
gotta run some errands tomorrow.
you know
No,
what I mean? Like,
I am very lucky, personally, that season 4 part 2 leaked early because I have a 2-hour video that I've had an extra month to
oh, that's awesome.
work on. So
Amazing.
that should be coming out probably just shortly. I don't want to release it like on the day, because I know a lot of people are waiting for the official release, so I don't want to like accidentally spoil people with thumbnails like day of or whatever, but shortly after the official release. And then I already have another idea for a video following that one, which is probably also going to be at least an hour. Anyway, and then of course there's subtopics. I don't know that if I'm gonna do a whole other video on Pixel, but you
You should do something.
I should address it.
Do what the show won't do.
So I
But you
have
feel like your
plenty to
passion is
do.
still there. And
Oh,
like,
it's right on up there. We're having it. I am like really into Dragon's Rising, which is a great feeling.
Oh yeah.
that's awesome.
Listen, you don't. It's fine. Even if you hate it, it's okay. We all understand.
Yeah, we all understand, Kit. We all understand.
No, and the thing is, like, I don't even like it because, like, oh, it got better. But it's just like, I don't know, something clicked in my brain, and like, it's still messy and it's got flaws. And I love, like I say in the video, like, it's fun to be messy. I like it when it gets messy. I'm most fascinated by the messy things, and Dragon's Rising has gotten sufficiently messy.
If
for
I
me.
was to psychoanalyze, which is something I love doing, but maybe
Go
I'm
ahead.
off base. Dude, LJ hates it when I do this, and I'm probably off base. But like, I think if I had to theorize, I would say that your impression or your ability to connect with Dragon's Rising got better when the community stopped overhyping it, because it
Oh,
created
100%.
this like
Oh
it was
yeah.
a cognitive dissonance thing where like what people were saying didn't match what you were seeing, and so like it was too weighted in opposite directions. But when it
And
came
it
closer
wasn't
to the
even like
middle, it's
that
like,
I had a different opinion necessarily. It was just there was so little air in the room to like have discussion even. It was like this is the line. This is the fandom line, and this is what we all have to say. And so that's what we say.
yeah. So
But
fair enough.
yeah.
And I will say, looking at your channel right now, for like congratulations, because like in the top 3 of your most popular videos, like 2 of them aren't even Ninjago, which I think is kind of
Yeah.
cool too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Variety channel aspiration right there.
I am trying to be a personality channel where people come to me for because it's me, not necessarily because it's Ninjago, but it's inevitably mostly Ninjago.
Well, that's how it goes. But that's good. We're hanging in there. Cheesy.
Yes.
What was the rest of your journey like?
All right. It's come to my attention that I might talk a little too fast. I'm gonna chill it out
I
this
think you're
time
fine.
around. So I think the last thing I mentioned was me uploading that the first animatic and me maybe fainting a little the same day and everything going from there. I have to rewind a tiny bit to December of that year because it is while I was working on that animatic, because when you're making any animation, you got to start out with like thumbnail drawings to get an idea of the shot compositions you want for any given shot or scene, etc. While I was doing that, I also started drawing some random fan art of specifically Jay in a winter inspired gi basically, or winter inspired suit, and I was like, that'd be fun having a Ninjago holiday special. I'll file that away for later, and that'll come up later. But so moving on from the first animatic, I feel like a lot of my stuff really like my interactions with the fandom at large either happened on Discord or on Twitter. um, I started off, like I mentioned, in the Krusty server, and I met a few different people. Then from there, someone from that server made another server, and there I ended up meeting Kevin, despite the fact that I somehow sort of met him I'd say like probably like a month or two before on a completely other server because I wanted to, gather opinions on Ninjago and see what other people thought because that's half the fun is like getting to know what people love or hate, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and so that was happening. And then I also met Trist on Twitter, and he ended up going to that server completely unrelated to the server that I tended to be on a lot, completely unrelated to everything. And from there, like a small little friend group started to form and whatnot. Um, I would say that around that time, I honestly didn't expect my first video to do as well as it did. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this one time. I want to make it the best piece of art that I can make it. That really just celebrated Ninjago as a whole, because it was around I think the 10th and sorry the a bit after the 10th anniversary, but still around close enough to that time. And then also, I'd say sadly, sorry, I got distracted by the Ninjago cast, the chat for a second. So
Bro, sorry.
anyway, so yeah, it was meant to mainly be like a celebration of the fandom and of the show itself. But my next animatic was something that I just really wanted to have exist because Seabound happened not to have a weekend whip for it. As we all know, it's just an instrumental track, and it's a pretty good instrumental track. But the intro, I felt like, man, I really wish that we could get that. And so I ended up making uh, an oceanic whip of sorts, where I basically remixed the song. And okay, so one thing that I love about the Ninjago whips is that they're all different genres and vibes and sounds. And me being someone who loves hip hop and R&B music like way, way, way too much, another I guess lovely little hyperfixation of mine. I was like, man, you know what would be fun? Like a hip hop and R&B inspired weekend whip song. And so I ended up making the Oceana whip, and it was meant to be sort of like this bridge of timeline between what happened in Seabound and then Crystallized. And I really, really wanted to get it out on before Crystallized came out, of course, because everything within it sort of hinged on the plot beats of like how the ninja dealt with Nia becoming the ocean and the grief behind that. And I was hoping very badly that the show would really go in depth on, not really, but like go a bit more in depth on, the ninja dealing with that than it ended up doing, I'd say, in Crystallized. But um, sadly, it Crystallized ended up coming out or leaking. It ended up leaking like a few weeks early, and me like pulling all-nighters and trying to rush to get this animatic out beforehand got stopped in my tracks because who doesn't love when Ninjago leaks? Because it happens almost every other day, I guess. Apparently.
Yeah.
And even if it like it leaked and whatnot, me getting out this animatic I think meant a lot to me just in general because I wanted to be able to encapsulate the idea of how the ninja or what the ninja might have been going through during that in between period. But also at the time I was dealing with my own uh personal grief of people passing away in my life, and so it was a way for me to like it was an outlet for me to like put those feelings into a song and into uh an animatic and getting to like write a little rap for it from like Nia's perspective, which is it's a very specific niche thing. But I just thought it would be fun to do and just like stretch all the different things that I loved and put them all into one thing. And somehow this one also did better than I thought it would as well. Um, and I was just glad that people enjoyed what I was able to put into it. Meanwhile, all the while I was talking with other people in the fandom and on Discord, etc. And sometimes you have those like late night Discord calls, and you like have those. It's something
Oh
about like finding that friend group, where you just end up hanging out all the time and being up until like 1 a.m. and just talking about things and having a good time. And that group ended up being people like Kevin and Sunny and which is not here, but interest and a whole host of other people. And you sometimes have like that pie in the sky idea. It's like, okay, it would be cool if one day we all got to hang out and it'd be great. Well, I decided, hey, you know what? I want to hang out with some people, and so I ended up eventually getting to hang out with Kevin, and we went to Legoland one time, and that was cool. And then around the time of the Crystallized premiere, I ended up hanging out with Tristan. We ended up like hanging out there, and I think I met a few other people there too, who happened to be there, which was very interesting.
With the
Um,
Crystallized premiere?
yeah, the Crystallized premiere in New York. Yeah,
Wait, so you met LJ, because LJ was there.
yeah, yeah.
We've
Yeah.
we
Wait a second.
we've
I met you like
we've
three
met
times.
we've met a few times. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just been like, was that the first time, or?
yeah. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that was the first time. Yeah,
That's
it
cool.
was very quick too. It was cool. It was very fun getting to meet people there and hanging out. And just being able to like talk about Crystallize and Tris going "Woo Studio" during the premiere. God, no one, that meme was so stupid, but I love
I
it so much.
I barely remember that event. I was so tired because I was
No, it's
already on a trip with everyone from TTV, went to
Mhm.
that, was in New York for 10 hours, and then flew
Ooh.
back.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
want to like,
God,
I,
that was
I want to, I want to
wild.
hold on that for just a
Oh
second.
no.
LJ
No.
literally, we
No,
had
no.
a trip we'd been planning for half a year. LJ just dropped one day. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm gonna miss a day because we're going to New York. And we were like,
Wow.
what? What do you mean you're going to New York? I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to the Crystallized premiere in air quotes. Hadn't you
Listen,
already seen it at that point?
listen. When you get invited to go by Lego and IMDb,
No kidding, yeah.
No, that's
it's like
that's fine. I understand, but like
Yeah.
You're gonna
the
go.
other
you would have
the
done the
others,
exact same thing.
No, for
I,
real, for real.
I don't know if I would have, to be honest, but maybe
Maybe
But
for
I
a
there's
don't know.
better
something about
season.
it.
Maybe for a better
There's something about it being like so last minute too. Like they did not announce anything until like God, probably like 2 or 3
That's
weeks
true.
ahead of time or something.
The others
And
in
so
TTV were very unhappy with LJ.
No one was happy with me for that choice.
no, it's true.
Especially
But like,
since I went to this for 10 hours, but I passed up going to New York Comic Con in 2014 for the
ooh,
return of Bionicle.
Yeah, you're actually a
Oh
crazy
yeah.
person.
Listen,
You
I
should
have
be
no regrets. I have no regrets.
you should be shamed for this. Carry on, cheese.
but you are right in that like it was very like touch and go. If you're gonna go, go do it now. I'm lucky I live in like the eastern coastal area, and so me and Tris actually live relatively close together, or in proximity. But that's besides the point. Suffice to say is uh because it was the last minute, I was like, I don't know if I want to go. I'm sort of like, it's gonna be a lot of work to take the train back down there and blah 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 blah. But at the same time, I was like, okay, you know, I might not be able to do something like this again. Someone I want to hang out with there. It'll be a good time, and it was 100%, 1,000% worth it. It was so cool to see people be like to just see Ninjago fans together like that is just something that I love because it shows just how much you can bring the community together in that kind of way, and that's a through line that I'll continue to touch on as we continue. But it was just an amazing thing, and I wouldn't trade going for the world. I also was lucky to get some of the free sets that were being given away if you stayed long enough and just loitered around. So I got
I
like the God, I don't remember half the names of them, but I got I'm going to describe the sets, and you'll have to figure it out because I'm so good at names, guys. I got the one that had Skylar in it and was like a cool, really big car. And then I
Oh
got,
no,
Oh, the
you got
Kai
the
Was
Raider,
it?
the
yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
Golden
Kai
Raider.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
gosh, I
Yep.
did
And then I
not
got
like that
I
set.
have that. I have that.
Disgusting set.
I still want that.
well,
I still want that gold Ultra Dragon. Like that. That's
look,
easily a Lego set for me.
I was broke. I had no Lego, mind you. I don't think I mentioned earlier, but I'm the kind of person who didn't really interact with Lego in that way. Like I mentioned, I had like
Oh, I
games,
love the
but I didn't
sets.
really have actual sets or anything like that. So being able to like have one was just really fun. I think the only other set I had gotten and I didn't get the chance to build at the time was either that or I got like a little bit later in December, but was the City Gardens. And so I was just happy to have an Ninjago set.
Did
um,
did you by any chance
mhm,
from the New York event?
yes.
Did you ever get a hold of one of the banners that they had there?
I don't think so.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe maybe Trist could have because he also got some free things as well.
Yeah, no.
But
That's possible. TTV was given a banner. The
ah
banner the banner
Awesome.
is with someone that is no longer part of TTV,
ah
and I've been
Lost
told
media.
that I'll be sent it eventually. And so I
mhm.
lugged that thing. I nearly got I had a fun time getting back through New York airport security. They were not
Oof.
terribly
El-
pleased with me, but I lugged around a whole bunch of stuff from that event through New York
Mhm.
streets. Not a fun time.
LJ treated
Yeah.
that banner like it was his child, and he's now been separated from it.
Oh,
Oh no!
I lugged it
Poor
everywhere.
thing.
I hope to one day you getting either a different one or the one that was yours originally.
I want that one.
Oh,
I want
that's
that
so real.
banner.
Yes, to the middle attachment to the crystallized banner.
No, that's so real.
Which is just a wild thing to say.
Okay, so yeah, the crystallized premiere happened, and around the time that's like October, October. It was October of that year. Um, Around that time, having made my first animatic and then the Oceanic Whip animatic, and that one being like having more story and narrative within it. And then I made like a little mini animatic a few months later. Around all that time, I was like, you know what? Remember that idea where I was like, man, Winter Ninja sounds cool. Maybe a Ninjago holiday special would be fun. Because we already had a Day of the Departed. And so Day of the Departed, most people don't like Day of the Departed.
Correct.
Fair. I also don't think Day of the Departed is a good special. But I really like holiday specials. I think they're neat. I think within the idea of Ninjago, they really help to make the world feel more real and lived in and like it's an actual place. And so I was like, you know what, maybe there's a winter holiday in Ninjago and et cetera, et cetera. So I venture from all the people that I've met and the skills I've acquired from making my previous works and whatnot. I'm like, you know what? Heck, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try and make an actual holiday special because I'm crazy and just basically crazy. Let's try and make this happen. And so me and some of those friends that I keep bringing up, like Tristan, Kevin, and others as well, we end up uh, coming together. And I'm like, okay, hey guys, here's okay. So actually, I should probably go back. So as an animation major, or in general, even in animation, usually when you're trying to pitch something to someone, you make a pitch Bible and and you need to present it to someone. So taking those skills, I go to my friends on Discord. I'm like, hey guys, I have this idea. Let me pitch it to you. And I make an entire PowerPoint presentation to pitch this idea of the Ninjago holiday special. And they're like, yeah, this sounds pretty cool. And I was like, hey guys, you wanna do this cool thing? And I'm just like, and they're like, yeah, okay. And so from there, I opened like auditions, and we start gathering together a team, and all this stuff sort of starts to culminate slowly and surely throughout like the mid end of December. And okay, animation is hard. Art is hard. Animation is hard.
Oh
You
yeah.
will put in blood, sweat, tears, even more and more and more tears. You will evaporate into the ether or something. And as you go on and as you make these pieces of work in animation, it becomes really tiring and taxing and whatnot. And so around December of that year, with the anxiety building, I'm like, man, I really wanted to try and get this out by December of this year. Me not really knowing how much I've bitten off, not in terms of like how to do it per se, but more so like how long it slowly is ending up becoming. Because I one thing about Ninjago is we know the pacing of Ninjago is pretty messy sometimes. And so sometimes it's like, oh, I wish there was more time for this or that, or for this character arc to ruminate, or for this thing to like really feel fully fleshed out. And within it, I was like, I don't want to compromise too much. I want it to be well paced. I don't want it to be like a slog in any given point or portion, but at the same time, I don't want to like rush the piece. And so it ends up being a bit longer than I thought it would be. And we get to a certain point in that December, and suddenly, my health takes a turn for the question mark slash not so good. And so from like 2023 for like a hot like 8 months, I'd say I sort of just evaporate. I'm around on Discord and I'm like hanging out and hanging in there, but uh, generally I'm just sort of taking a step back because I think trying to get out the previous animatics I was making like relatively succinctly, because a lot of those took like 3 months to make in of themselves, um, from like thumbnailing to the final upload. Um, I needed to take a step back. I was gonna run myself into the ground. I was gonna keep having way too much anxiety, and just wasn't a good point for me to be in, I suppose. And so after those 8 months, I'm getting my stuff together, really trying to put my best foot forward in continuing. And around, I'd say, December of that following year, I end up finally putting out like a teaser trailer for Frostburn, which is what the thing ended up becoming, or what the untitled Ninjago holiday special ended up becoming. And I think Frostburn is probably will be the last like really big thing I do in the fandom when it's finally finished. I'll probably do other things and whatnot, but this is like a really big undertaking. It's been a really big undertaking. I also have a proponency to like not ask for help too much, because I'm like, yeah, this is my thing that I started. I don't want to like make or like burden other people with, hey, can you help me with it? Like,
Mhm.
it's a hard like double-edged sword, because some people just also just want to help, which I appreciate so much, and it means the world to me to have gotten help from people. But it really is one of those finding balance within it and whatnot, and finding balance with that. But
Truly
overall,
a
being able
Ninjago moral, if ever I've heard one.
no, for real. No, there's at least two morals. There's one other one that I'll get to in a second, but that Ninjago has like really helped me to learn for myself, and like really like like beat it into my head, perhaps even. But so yeah, that happens, and all the while around that December, I'd say when I finally come back in 2023, if you remember, I was like, oh, on late night calls with this group of friends, we were like, hey, it'd be fun to like hang out and meet up for realsies, and I did it with with Trish and with Kevin. But at this point, we're like, we've gotten older, time's passed by, and it's like, cool to do like a bigger meetup, to just like all hang out together and like really like have the summer vacation of a lifetime kind of vibes, if you know what I'm saying. And so, um, around this time or a bit beforehand, I ended up becoming the owner of that server that I said that people started to join, that sort of like started to friend or form that friend group. And so eventually I ended up meeting even new other people like Dawo, who ended up being on that trip. And like, I met Cube beforehand, but like Cube was almost going to maybe be on the trip, and then a few other people. And like we started to plan this trip, and somehow I, started to like help really facilitate it coming to fruition. And after like, again, months of blood, sweat, and tears, while also betwixt of doing Frostburn and all that, we end up making this trip a reality, and that becomes the first like Operation Crossroads, which is the name of the channel on the server. I know it's silly, but let me have fun. Anyway, we end up going to Brick Fair, Virginia, in 2024, and it is that summer vacation of a lifetime. I end up meeting these people that I've been talking to for like 2 years at this point. Finally, we go, me, Tris, Sunny, um, Lime, and like another person, or Asher and another person. We end up going on this road trip all the way from the East Coast area where me and Trista are generally in the similar vicinity, all the way down to Virginia, and it's so much fun, and it's something that I'll never ever forget. So much so that we do it again in 2025. And it's even bigger and even more people, like even Josh ended up being a part of it. And it's just like there's something about being able to bring people together in one way or another, whether it be for a project like Frostburn or like Ninjago the musical, which is its own thing, or there's so many different wonderful, amazing artistic projects that Ninjago has helped inspire and create and facilitate coming to being. And being able to being able to be someone to bring so many people together in one way or another, whether it be for a trip or with other people on a project, is something that I'd never trade for the world. I am so happy that I've gotten to be a part of this fandom and gotten to make things. And even when things have gotten worse, because sadly after that like 2025 trip, my health took another dip, and it turns out I was dealing with like fibromyalgia and chronic pain and stuff, and it sometimes gets really hard, and sometimes it gets to a point where it's like, man, will I be able to really finish this thing or be a part of this thing or continue on the way that I once was. But I think that if there's one thing Ninjago has taught me, other than the balance thing, um is to never quit. And even if things are slow or not going exactly as someone plans, even if there are like turbulence and bumps in the road, that you'll always find your people in a place that, or you can find your people in a place that you never really expected, and really find that community and foster those friendships that can last you a lifetime, despite the fact that you guys are like miles apart, or it's over a show about plastic ninja. And I don't know, there's something beautiful about being able to create, being able to inspire others, and you be inspired by those people, and so on and so forth, in this not echo chamber, but in this like endless loop, I guess. I don't know. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Been so much fun. And I think that's close to where we are now. I've finally gotten back. My health is slightly more balanced again.
Good.
I'm taking it slow, but I am not one to ever give up. I'm never to give up on my friends or on the things that I really care about, because at the end of the day, if there's one thing that I want to do, is to at least leave God, this is not Ninjago, it's Monkey Kid, but I want to leave things better than I found it. And if that's in
Nice.
art or in bringing people together or in making friends and being there for them and whatnot, then I do it over and over again in a heartbeat.
Very well put. I think meeting your friends through a creative passion of yours is a wonderful thing. I owe my entire social network pretty much to Bionicle. Without it, I literally wouldn't. I don't even know what kind of person I'd be. It's crazy. So it's a beautiful thing and very well said.
Very well said.
All right.
All right.
Crystal, you're up.
Awesome. So where I am now is catching up with my stability. The past year and a half and the past few years with Dragons Rising, I've been going on my own um, journey to find stability. Okay. I ended up finding a job I really liked. I ended up getting a master's degree to get a higher paying job. I got a job. I got a new apartment. I'm building up my office. I'm building up things that I need. And Dragons Rising and Ninjago have now become such a hobby for me that it has basically become my online identity at this point. I had never used Discord that much until I was invited to the server. I can't remember who invited me, but I think it was either Cheesy or Kevin that sent me the link, and I've been on it ever since. through them, I got to meet Bendo and Meso at the same time during a reaction to season 2, part 1 of Dragons Rising. And ever since then, I've only ever been on the up and up. I know that I haven't done a lot of content, but there's always things that have always been on the back burner. I'm 3,000 words deep into the next chapter of Wellspring, my Konya magnum opus, and the other magnum opus, not the one that Cheesy sat through. Um, so basically what I'm doing now is that Ninjago and podcasting and videos have basically become my hobby and the thing that if I wanted to talk or go on the internet, it's usually towards those people. I started a online Konya Tumblr community that now does Konya weeks for fanfics and fan art every year that bumps it maybe almost 20 fics a year now, which is fantastic. I have I have my own fan club now, and I'm a part of other people's fan club, and I'm meeting so many new people. And really, all that really is left is y'all guys picking my brain because I know not a lot of you are versed in shipping community like I am. One of the things that I ended up connecting with Kevin the most was our relationship with Kyler and the representation of different characters who come in and out to be love interests and nothing else. Um, funnily enough, because of there's a term in fandom called fanon goggles, where you will constantly and consistently watch one thing for so long that everything is a little bit dimmer. But somehow I come on NinjagoCast and every single opinion that I've been building up for about 8 years or so that I can put in a podcast or I can say on there is slowly but surely vindicated over time, which doesn't make a lot of sense personally, but whenever you can have those fandom goggles and then step away and look at canon, for instance, you see all the people's discourse and opinions. So if you want to pick my brain about it, you can go ahead.
Here's what I would like to know. I want to
Yes.
know. So you've been in this side of the community very heavily.
Yes.
I'm sure there's tons of things you could talk about, but I want to know like the two. I don't want to say favorite because it's probably not good, but like the two most notable bouts of drama or infighting in the shipping
All right.
community.
What do
You
we want to
would.
tackle first? Because there's different angles, and to be honest, Meso, everything that you see in a shipping community has happened before.
Well,
Everything
yeah.
changes, but almost everything remains the same. Like the discourse coming from one side of the fandom could exist in some other fandom in the
Oh,
exact
I'm
same
sure.
language of the discourse.
To be clear about just how little I know, like just to say like a random ship, Green
Sure.
Flame.
Okay.
I know there's drama about Green Flame. I was never part
Oh
of it.
yes.
So I know like nothing about anything at all.
Well, okay, so basically, I think depending on who you ask, with Green Flame, is a conversation about ages
Mm.
because nobody knows what ages are thinking about. Some people, whenever they look at early Green Flame, see it as a Wendy Dipper situation from Gravity Falls, where they're only technically like 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 or 5 years away from each other. And if they were adults and they met as adults or met as older teenagers, they would have a better time. But you see, Lloyd is in a very precarious situation where he had to grow up very fast and there's more discourse and discord about having a kid's brain in a teenage body, which is something that we end up exploring in Dragons Rising, which is insane to me. that even exists and they're acknowledging it. But really what it comes down to is whether or not you ship Green Flame based on those ideas or their connection in the early seasons as a protector, whether and changing it into a relationship that isn't a protector, like it's contextualized in the show, but wanting to be a friend so much to Lloyd that they like that genuine connection that exists, but they go at it at a romantic angle rather than a platonic. You see what I'm saying?
I
I
completely
feel
see
like
what you're
that
saying.
if you said that sentence in medieval times, just everything you just said there would have
Oh yeah,
vaporized a medieval
vaporize.
peasant
Yeah,
just on
show
the
this
spot.
show this conversation to a person dying of the plague. They'd die faster. But anyway, pick my brain some more. Pick another ship. Tell me.
I mean,
Interessante.
I don't even know. Somebody else help me out here. What are some other
Yeah,
controversial
anybody
like?
pick my brain. Anybody.
Controversial ships. I mean, Larumi is controversial for pretty obvious
Okay.
reasons. It's like
Lloyd Rumi is very controversial. Depending. So, what kind of angle were you trying to say about it? Because you can go about it in different ways.
I want to know people that like attack each other for it. Like that's what I would like.
So,
People have been very
there's
like
yeah,
vicious to people that ship
they're very
Larumi.
attached. So they're very attached to the very concept of the idea of Harumi's subconscious. So yeah, so we're gonna go analytical and psychological and stuff. So everyone loved the idea of Lloyd having a love interest at all. See Akita, see Green Flame circa definitely season 5 when Lloyd was being possessed. You get a lot of people who want that kind of companionship that other characters have. Something that people are still talking about with discourse with Cole to this day. And whenever you get one of the most popular tropes in fiction, that in romance, enemies to lovers, it's almost too much of a concept to withhold in yourself whenever you love it so much that you see the potential in it, just as a lot of people see the potential in Ninjago itself. So whenever you approach Crystallize and all of this enemies to lovers exists, right? And that's in their headspace, then you get the people who are willing to excuse Harumi trying to kill Lloyd in the primeval forest in easily one of the greatest Ninjago betrayal scenes of all time. And you get, oh, but you resurrected my dad and made him fight so bad that I lost him forever and completely ruined our relationship. And then the discourse ends up splitting entirely from the people who can't move past season 8 and all the things that Harumi actually did, because seasons 8 and 9 and 10 were so much darker than previous Ninjago seasons. Then you have Crystallized in Wild Brain, where it's way too lighthearted. And then they come up with ways that say, oh, you beat up on Lloyd, but now you have an excuse of saying, oh, so the great devourer that destroyed my city wasn't Lloyd, it was actually the overlord this whole time, which makes them have another outlet. So the discourse actually, whenever you break it apart, comes in different eras and in different ways you interpret both Lloyd and Harumi's character based on the events of the show in its entirety.
Fair enough.
Very epic.
Neat.
Also, I hate to rush past the shipping discussion, but Cube does seem to have to leave soon, so
Yeah.
Well, I still have another like 10 or so minutes. That's all right.
Just thought I'd
That's fair.
make it be known.
I mean, I'll cycle back around to the shipping stuff because
Yeah, let's
I
let
have a
Cube
few more
speak.
questions. But
Go ahead.
yeah, Cube next. But first, we must unfortunately bid farewell to Kit.
Yes.
I believe correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Huh?
I do have to go, but it's been wonderful talking with y'all, and I love hearing of everybody's backstories and stuff. I'll have to catch what I miss after I leave, but
Thank you for
thanks so
joining
much for
us,
having
Jet.
me.
Yeah, for
And
real.
thank,
Yes,
and thank
always
you
a
for being
pleasure.
on this podcast.
All
Your
right,
voice on the
bye.
community is much appreciated. Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Adios.
All right. Cube, tell us, where are you now? And where are you going next?
With Ninjago,
Oh yeah. What has your
honestly,
journey
not
been
not
since
really been doing
inception?
much. Oh well, honestly, not much since there's not much more than what I already said previously. I guess nowadays I'm a lot more casual, kind of on the side. Like I was like yeah, I know I was obsessed for so many years and like really invested in where like the story with the story and the characters. So I so I would say that Crystallized really like kind of broke that in a way, not like fully, but like kind of because I had a lot of high hopes in the show, and Crystallized didn't like deliver on a lot of the stuff, which is not like a horrible thing or anything, but made me kind of question, okay, maybe I maybe I was loving the show a bit too much. But then with
Kind of
Dragon's
brings your
Right,
like investment down, kind of.
yeah. But yeah, and with Dragon's Rising season 1 and season 2, that kind of brought it back up. Like season 1, I was like, oh, this is really good, but I don't want to say like I don't want to be like too invested just yet in case what happens again. And then with Dragon's Rising season 2, I was like, oh no, we're good, we're good. And then we got Dragon's Rising season 3, and I'm like, which wasn't anywhere near what Crystallized was for me. But I think in a way I'm kind of happy we got Dragon's Rising season 3 in a way, because now I'm kind of like, okay, I kind of know where I stand with the show now. And I kind of know what it will do. Like it's gonna be like this all the time. We're gonna get like some really incredible season that like pushes what can be done with like a kids show, and then we're gonna get a season that's like pretty lackluster, and then we might get a season which has like harmful messaging. But I think like in a way that's almost fun now. We have no idea what the quality of a season is going to be these days until we just get into it. And like I don't really get as annoyed as I did with Crystallized when the show does something that could be silly. I kind of just laugh about it, like I don't know, like the stuff with Thunderfang or the Forbidden Five. Like I guess me in 2022 would have been like actually like mad about what they did with those like characters, but I just kind of laugh at it now. Like
I'm definitely with you there. There's a point where like the same loop happens so many times it kind of dulls a little bit. Like you don't feel as
Yeah.
strongly as you used to about things,
yeah.
which is probably for
And
the best.
yeah, I'm kind of happy with it in a way because it weirdly makes the show more enjoyable in a
Oh,
way.
for sure.
Like this is a weird thing to say, but it's less pressuring watching the show these days because there's a lot riding on Crystallized, which is like probably mainly community like
Oh, 100%.
expectations rather than what was actually being presented.
Yeah.
But yeah, but
I don't think that's a
yeah,
weird thing at all. I think that makes perfect sense.
I mean, the hype
Like
cycle was huge for Crystallized, especially the gap did not help. The gap
hype
made
cycles
it
are
up.
so dangerous
Not for
for
real.
media.
So true.
yeah. And so I'm really interested on what happens with Dragon's Fury in the sense of like because what happened with Crystallized was like huge and such. But I think the outlook in the community, like how you said, has kind of changed a bit where I don't think we'll get a situation like that, even if the season turns out to be not very well received.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy with, but I don't know, like if it does something that's like incredibly shocking, then I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I'm more so curious. So I'm kind of more like I still love the show too much, but I'm definitely more not as invested. I'm kind of like just along for the ride, kind of, which I honestly think is better.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree.
I
I
mean,
think that much.
That's fair.
I never had the highest standards, some of my opinions on the seasons are very
Yeah, Mr.
not.
Prime Empire enjoyer.
I mean, I'm also a Prime Empire
I
shill though, so I
look.
can't
I
even
love
like.
Prime Empire so
We're
much.
we're in arms for
Yes.
real.
Oh yeah.
No, I think your approach is honestly good. It ties into a lot of what I was trying to get at earlier. You put it far more succinctly than I did, though. It's like I just think it's important to have like your expectations in check, because like stuff rarely lives up to the mountainous hype and expectations that a fandom can
Totally.
build. So
So
Yeah.
many.
I think we all kind of also need to realize that stuff that the show puts down, there's a good chance it won't go back to it.
that's true.
But it's fine. I guess it makes it more surprising when they do go back to it. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, so they did actually follow through with this. That's cool. And if they
But
don't,
like
it's more like, well,
it shouldn't be the expectation that everything will always get followed up on.
yeah.
Um,
Even though like story in shows and stuff, you'd expect that to be the case, but you know,
yes and no. I feel like
Ninja.
sometimes things are pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
I feel like Ninjago has only followed up on half the stuff it has because of how long it's run. And it was never
Yeah.
supposed to run as long as it was. Like, they didn't introduce these things to be followed up on later, I guess is what I'm saying. A lot of
Yeah.
the
Like
ideas were one-offs.
it's not had a position to like be able to fully plan in advance. And even when they do, they can plan semi in advance. There's still, the
There's still
chance it
problems.
won't. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just kind of having fun with the show now. Like,
That's good.
yeah.
Prediction, like, are you do you think Dragon's Fury is gonna be good, or do you think it's gonna drop the ball?
I think it'll be, because I think Dragon's Rise season 4 was fine overall. I think it'll probably be like that, where like it'll do the bare minimum it has to do to stick the landing, which is what I'm hoping for and kind of expecting. But I'm not gonna lie. I kind of think it would be fun to have a new "it's okay, she's with us" type thing. So I don't mind what they do.
Right. That's honestly fair. All right. Well, Bindo.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, just like I know you've been on an interesting mental journey with Ninjago in the last few years.
No, I honestly do echo kind of a lot what Cube was saying in the sense that it's like it's gotten to a point where I have no expectations and it's just whatever happens happens. I feel strange in this point in time because I had so much to say for such a long time, and now I'm sitting here and I haven't uploaded a video in 6 months.
Mood.
And I still
How many months?
6 months.
But I still love to come on NINJAGOcast and talk about it. And there's obviously, conversation, discussion gets brought out of me, and I still have
I'm the
things to
same
say.
way.
Yeah.
I'm literally a retired YouTuber and I'm still here. This is the only
And it's like I have things I want to say, and there will be videos, but I've kind of reached this point where I think I'm basically like, in terms of the video making stuff, I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm done, but I'm like I'm at the point where it's just like, if something cool happens, and I feel like I've said this exact sentence so many times recently, but it's like, if something cool happens and it's worth praising and it's worth bringing up and it's worth being like, hey, this writing is really great, and I wanna share why, and I wanna share why this works, then I will. But if there's something that's maybe not so great and I don't love it, or something that I even hate, I just don't find it in me anymore to care enough to complain, even though I do think it is worth the discussion. I think it is worth critiquing something on that level. That comes from like a hey, this is why this doesn't work. And it's like an informed discussion, not just ragging on stuff for the sake of it.
Sure.
Which
Mhm.
I try my best to do with the more negative videos. But it's just like I like to see where Ninjago goes, and I want to see if it does cool stuff, and I want to dissect it and give it its praise for when it does something cool, because it's really rewarding for me when the show does
Yeah.
something good. And that's kind of where I am at when it comes to my opinions and the vibe that I'm going into stuff with, and it's kind of like I've reached this almost sense of a bit of finality with my channel, where it's like I've kind of covered what I want to cover, I've kind of said what I want to say. I've even like I've gone as far as do an entire rewrite of Crystallized.
Very good, by the way.
And
Yeah.
I've made instrumental rock tracks for every main, like, of the 6 OG Ninja, you know.
Yeah.
I've artistically and intellectually delved into this franchise to max capacity, I feel, or at least as near to max capacity as I can get, before the rest is just me being like, you know, just giving my thoughts on whatever's coming out.
Yeah.
That's so
And
valid, though.
Sparks your passion.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's one
It's
of those
better to make things
things.
passionately.
Exactly. But it's one of those things to where I feel like my involvement in this fandom has really escalated what I've been doing outside of the fandom, because I'm someone who you know, for better or for worse, has just indulged myself in far too many creative hobbies for me to juggle all at once, realistically. And you know, the main one that Ninjago has sparked has been writing. Ever since I was younger, you know, Ninjago has inspired me to look deeper into writing and to be a better writer and to tell stories. And it's this show that got me to write my first full work, that being the Crystallized rewrite. And it is in writing that has springboarded me into making an entire project of my own, which stemmed from being a Ninjago AU initially and very quickly shifted away from that. But you know, it still has roots in Ninjago.
Did someone say roots?
I'm gonna lose it.
Yes, he did.
But
I'll never forgive Lego for taking down my compilation. By the way.
oh, it's tragic. But Ninjago's really propelled me in this interesting way of, like, I look back on it and I recognize all the faults it has, but I recognize the ways in which it excels, and it's almost been like the most, like, prominent teacher in my life in a weird way, to where it's taught me so much about the media I enjoy and what I like in a story, that I've not only been able to apply to, you know, other media I watch, for example on the channel Monkey Kid, but have also been able to learn so much from and take so much from in terms of building my own stories and building my own worlds and creating my own art. And for that, I'm just so thankful for it, and that's kind of the position I'm in now, where it's like Ninjago may kind of, in a way, be you know, in the rear view mirror for me in terms of being super involved with it like I used to be, but it is always going to be paving my road forward in some way or another.
For real.
Can I put on my psychoanalysis cap and
Go
ask
for
you a
it.
question?
Go for it.
Because I have a theory, but I might be off base about where your investment shifted. Cube, do you need to dip out before I do this?
Yeah, sorry. It's like
You're
3
all
a.m.
good.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for
Thank
staying
you for
with us
joining
for as
us.
long as
Bye,
you have.
Cube.
Yeah.
All right.
You're a
Thank
legend.
you.
You did great.
Thank you. I had fun. I will catch up in the rest
Bye.
of the podcast later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, psychoanalysis time.
Go for it.
So Monkey Kid, right?
Yes. I'm very
Which do you
normal
like
about it.
more, Ninjago or Monkey Kid?
I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Monkey Kid is like my favorite show of all time.
No,
Yeah.
that's so real, though.
Like my favorite piece of media to exist.
I have a theory based on my observations of your channel and talking to you here and like seeing how things have gone. I notice the dip in your Ninjago investment was coinciding with the rise of Monkey Kid and has crescendoed, or I guess whatever the opposite of crescendoed is.
Decrescendo.
That with the downfall of Monkey Kid and the treatment of it by Lego. How
Yeah.
much do you think that your mental willingness to invest in a Lego IP correlates with watching what Lego has done with your favorite piece of media and a subconscious desire to maybe back away from investing so much in something when you could see how quickly and unceremoniously it could like die?
Yeah. No, you're definitely onto something because Monkey
Because I've
Kid.
been there.
Because yeah, the thing is, Monkey Kid, when because I was pretty late to Monkey Kid. By the time I got into it, season 4 had pretty much finished airing, and all was left was the special. But I also got into Monkey Kid because of the way Ninjago was going, because it was the
Right.
hiatus between Crystallized and Dragon's Rising starting. So I was just like, I need something to almost fill the void, and I've heard good things about Monkey Kid, and I've sure as hell seen good things about Monkey Kid. So I was like, I need to watch this. It's about time I did, because I'd been wanting to since it came out. And it's just one of those things that just completely engulfed me in a way that like media rarely does. And honestly nothing has since. And I think there's definitely a correlation because even then, like, Monkey Kid was really good. And then Dragon's Rising started out really great in my eyes. And I still look back on those early Dragon's Rising seasons and I think they're some of Ninjago's best. And it was just like a really good time to be into Lego stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then Monkey Kid unceremoniously was ripped away from us. And not much like it didn't take very long for Ninjago to start kind of falling to the wayside for me too with the release of season 3, and it was kind of a lot all at once, I think.
Yeah. I think it plays a role. And I think anyone would have that same takeaway. I think it makes perfect sense. Right? Like,
no kidding. Like there's a definite way whenever something crashes all around you and you're kind of looking for shelter and there's nothing really else left to say that you can go to after the smoke clears. It's a very realistic response.
I mean, I have a cynical outlook, and like LJ, I know you've been there too, but maybe less than me. It's like we were talking earlier, remember, about like Ninjago being a kid's show and to set your expectations for that. There's also a thing of like Ninjago's a Lego show. So set your expectations for that. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm getting at? Like,
yeah.
Elge, we've talked about this extensively over the years when it comes to like Bionicle, and like, so say Bionicle comes back tomorrow, would it be good with modern Lego helming it? And like, no, right? Like, we don't talk enough about how quickly and unceremoniously Monkey Kid died, despite being like, despite being one of the highest quality, at least from a production standpoint, things to come out. If that could happen, for whatever reason, we'll never know. When that happened, it kind of told me, well, we should really temper our expectations for anything, because so long as these products are Lego IPs, their quality will only insofar be as much as Lego, the toy company, wants to invest in them. And for whatever reason, they just were like, all right, we're done with Monkey Kid. And don't know why. Don't know if we'll ever know. Maybe it'll come back. Maybe it won't. The fact that it hasn't been like officially canceled is weird. The fact that they're still selling sets for it is
I'm not going to diverge this too
Yeah,
much,
I know.
but I think it's worth
The
being
fact
stated
that-
at this point in time that we're in such a weird spot with it, because it's like,
yeah,
there's a bunch of sets that are still up for weirdly longer than they should be for a Lego theme that hasn't seen anything new in a long time. And they're just now getting around to like globally releasing the show on YouTube for free. Are they botching the release already? Absolutely.
Yes.
Does it mean we're ever getting any more? I heavily doubt it. But what is happening?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
like
for real.
as
I mean, like
that
even down to like the little park that they put, or like the section of the
Yeah.
Legoland, and I think it's Shanghai. So like the fact that they have like a whole section meant they either thought Monkey Kid was gonna do like way better than they thought it would, or who knows? Who knows what Lego's
It's
thinking?
so
I don't
weird.
know.
and yeah, the reason I don't bring it up just to psychoanalyze Bindo, but like it's a trend, and I kind of want to I want to flip it around back to LJ, not for necessarily the closing thoughts, but like I want to kind of because you started this, right? Like this was your podcast. You're in a position in 2026. You haven't even seen season 4 yet, and you have no like immediate desire to. I want to like in your headspace, where are you at with Ninjago, and what do you think has like? Do you think all these things have kind of played a role in some degree? All the things we've talked about,
I think it's
or is there
possible.
more?
I think more it's just that I'm just so busy doing other stuff at the moment. Like my time is eaten up by doing other things. It's not necessarily that I'm not interested in Ninjago or curious to know what they're up to or what they're doing. It's just I'm busy with other stuff. Like there are other like I really don't consume a whole lot of media right now because I'm working on other things, projects or videos or what have you. But to me, the pull isn't there. There's nothing super interesting that I'm hearing is happening for me to be like really drawn to watching at the moment. And it ebbs and flows. Like I'll go back to it eventually. The curiosity will get the better of me. But for right now I'm just in one of those states where there are other things that I'm focused on, and when I'm no longer focusing on them, I'll travel back. I'll take a look. I'll see what it is because it's been such a significant part of the last 15 years.
Bro really said your psychoanalysis is wrong. I'm just busy.
Yeah.
Honestly, respect. I mean, okay, fair
You win
enough.
some, you
It's
lose
crazy
some.
then. Maybe I'm just projecting then, because like
I mean,
for me, it very much is hard for me to want to invest my mental energy in stuff that Lego does. And it's not that I won't. I'm not leaving. I'm gonna watch Ninjago for probably as long as it exists. To be honest, because I'm just into it at this point. I'm really hyped for Duskfall, but like
Hey.
if I could be like candid, it's just like knowing how Lego operates. Really hard for me to want to get my hopes too high for anything, because it could be pulled randomly for reasons beyond my comprehension. There's like we don't know the full scoop, but like there's stuff that happens in season 4 of Dragon's Rising, part 2. Not gonna say what for spoilers purposes, but like if you know, you know, weird stuff that I can only fathom why it was done, and it's probably some dumb reason where like we have to tie the sets in and we have to incorporate certain characters that were in certain sets at certain times, and like bizarre things from a writing perspective that probably exist because it's a toy line first, and that's a separate conversation, right? Never forget the Geckles and the Munts in the Master of the Mountain sets. Like this is a product first. It's not a story first. The story exists, and honestly, it's a blessing that it's as good as it has been, and that it's been able to spawn a community that's lasted for 16 years and not just be ninjas on spinning tops fighting skeletons on motorcycles. Because if it was up to Lego, that's probably like, that's probably what it would have stayed at. But thankfully, we've had creatives and writers that have helmed it and had aspirations for it to be something more than that. And maybe they've stumbled at times, but their goal has always been to like tell a story, not just do a commercial. And I'm thankful for that, as flawed as it has been. But man, is it hard to like emotionally invest in it sometimes because you never know what'll happen, right? You never know.
Real. Also, thank you so much, World of Cars Entertainment, for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you for doing this. Even switching it from channel to channel, watching your cast made me reach out to others and have grown connections. thank you for thank you for my ensuing antics of delaying the stream.
So
Thank you so much,
true.
Overcars.
For
You're a
real.
legend.
LJ, before we end, you gotta say the line, bro.
I don't have to
Yeah.
say one.
You gotta
I'm
say
not
the line.
not the sensei anymore.
Where's LJ's
Oh, okay.
recap of the entirety of Ninjago cast?
Right?
Monarb said he's in the trailer, Meso. You can mention him. Is he really?
Oh yeah.
I
Well,
didn't...
Wow.
yeah, he was in a trailer, but it was like one of those
Okay.
weird,
Great.
like I
Well,
don't even know how to describe it.
well, fair. I'm like, if he's in the trailer, then it's fair game. But if you don't
Yeah.
want to know, I'll give you like 5 seconds to mute the stream or whatever. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's Cryptor.
Also, I
I'm
think
talking
we
about
missed a
Cryptor.
super chat from Monard, but I cannot.
Oh no, Monarb, I'm
I
sorry.
cannot find it because
Hold
Monarb, what did you
I went
say?
too far ago.
on. Yeah, it went too far.
Tell us, Monarb. Repeat. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I was talking about Cryptor. Like that's what I mean. There's no earthly
Yeah.
reason for him to be in the season other than the fact that he was in that one legacy set. So I can only presume that it was like a mandate to be like, hey, this guy is featured at this time. We need this guy in the marketing, and he was like,
He did some cool stuff though. They did some really cool, awesome stuff with him. Let's go.
It turned out a lot better than it could have. I feel like. I feel like this
Fair enough.
universe was just a very
and
should've
people
gone down
had
path.
on Twitter and everywhere else was begging for him to show up at some point. And
I
they
look
got what they
forward to
wanted.
talking about it in the future.
Indeed.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, and hopefully you watch it, Elge. We should have you on again for Dragon's Fury to have like Dragon's Rising finality discussion.
I'm down.
Yay!
All right.
Have we about reached the end after 3 hours of
Yeah,
I think
unless
so.
you don't have to ask me any more questions. Even you don't have
I will,
to do it unless you
I
want
will-
to do it afterward.
I kind of think we should do a follow-up episode at one point because I have some
Sure.
I have some
Ninjago ship
Larumi.
episode?
Unironically, I have some hot
Yes.
takes. I think.
That's fine.
God.
We can have a hot take
Let's
episode. That
let's
sounds
start
fun.
let's start a community fire with the shipping podcast.
I mean,
But yeah,
We can.
for
mean,
now, I think we have reached the end.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you to Cube and Kit for also joining us, and unfortunately having to leave before the end. But yeah, no, this has been a really fun episode, really insightful, really great to hear everyone's stories and everything. Just so cool to get everyone here together, and to think that this is only just a small little sliver of the fandom that we've gathered here. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. I think anyone who's been with Ninjago this long can agree it's been a journey. And you know, I'm glad we're all here. Also, the super chat from Monarb was, what do you mean, Meso? They will write the Ninja Lego in. Oh my god, I cannot read. The Ninja Lego is taking the newbies behind the shed in the second season 5 ends.
He's saying they're gonna throw away the new characters.
see.
Which absolutely they will.
Maybe. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
with
sad.
all that talk of wanting to separate the merged lands, it seems very possible.
We will see what happens. But I want to thank all of you. This was a blast. I had
Yes,
a ton of fun. And Bindo, you can go ahead and send us out.
Epic. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I have been your Sensei Bendo.
I am Meso.
I'm LJ.
I'm Konya Crystal.
I'm Cheesy.
And
this
rest
has
in
been...
peace, Kit and
yes. And this has been NinjagoCast episode 100. Thank you all so much for watching. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Goodbye.
200
everyone.
more.
Get to 100 more.
To 100 more episodes.
I don't know about that.
It was the last
100
they saw
episodes,
of
NinjagoCast.
NinjagoCast.
Yeah, you lost rights to the channel. It's gone now.